Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that it took me a minute. Let me find my headphones. I've been spring cleaning all day and I had to like I moved everything. I redid my desk and everything. I'm so sorry to keep y'all waiting. Nonsense, good to see you. Chico, good to see you. Good to see you. C. Taylor, good to see you. Mona Lisa, Carl Ferguson, good to see you. I don't know why Botrix is here. I did not go live on Kick. Cindy from sunny South Florida, good to see you. Native Girl Talks True Crime, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Cracker Jacks, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Mercedes Girl, Steph, not that Steph, don't side eye me, good to see you. Peekaboo, it's good to see you. Hey Jude, good to see you. Cracker Jacks, Smoking, good to see you. Thank you all so very much for being here. And if you don't mind, please streak to that thumbs up button like Tika asked. Let me locate my freaking headphones because they should be right here. And I'm going to try to fix this camera. I apologize. I don't really have like an intro because I'm redoing everything. I'm going to talk to y'all while I look through this. Here they are. My camera's going to be weird for a second. Oh my goodness. Today is not my day. Jesus. Hold on. Let me fix this dryer. You're beeping. Okay. Let me get something pulled up for y'all. We're going to listen to the two new reports real quick while I finish getting my crap together, which I should have had together by now. Let me pull this up and listen to the two new reports real quick while I finish getting shit fixed. There we go. Okay, we probably won't finish it, but hey, y'all, we have
All right,
two
give me 1
new
second.
police reports from Julie Skolnick. And so we're going to go ahead and get right into it and go over those two reports. So here is the cover sheet for the first report. This report was filed on May 16th of 2026 and it occurred at 18:05 p.m. The case number is 26-06470. The incident type is a minor complaint. Julie Skolnick is contact 1 and the other two people mentioned are going to be Brittany and Craig. And here is that incident report again from May 16th of 2026. It was filed by Officer Mikowski. It reads, Julie Skolnick contacted headquarters via a taped telephone line to document possible cyber harassment. Skolnick claimed an unknown actor recorded the meeting between Craig and Brittany and North Hadelton prosecutor LaSalle regarding an ongoing legal proceeding Skolnick has against them. Skolnick stated the meeting took place on April 1st of 2026, and she claimed the video recording was, quote, illegally, unquote, posted on a live stream today by Craig and Brittany. Skolnick also claimed Craig and Brittany talked about her in the live stream, which Skolnick stated she was made aware of the live stream by an online friend. I advised Skolnick the incident would be documented. Our next report was filed on May 22nd of 2026 at 14:50 p.m. The case number is 26-06857 and the contact person mentioned on this one is Skolnick. The incident type is police information. This report reads, Julie Skolnick contacted headquarters via a taped telephone line to document possible cyber harassment. I spoke with Skolnick, who claimed she received a live stream link from an online friend of a streamer named Queen Bee. Since we're stopping it there, let me... Do I not have a mic? Casual Art, good to see you. No, it shows that it's working. Please do not dox or harass anybody. Thank you for that, Pika. Yes, I need to show this. Everything discussed in the stream is alleged and solely my opinion. Please do your own research. Hit the thumbs up. The stream is for educational purposes only. Since we stopped right there, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think when you read the line, I spoke with Skolnick, who claimed she received a live stream link from an online friend of a streamer named Queen Bee, that she could have been talking about a friend of Queen Bee, especially when the previous report was mentioning Granny's watching, and the video she did where she on TikTok where she calls out Granny's watching and says the person she was speaking about was Granny's watching from the previous report was done the day after this police report was filed. So I just wanted to put that out there. And that's all we're going to discuss on that specific topic today, because this is not a Chroma stream. I see that Hello Kitty gifted 10 Speculation Station memberships. Thank you so much for that. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I'm going to grab the crazy train to pick our new members up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. Hello, here, Kitty Kitty. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Sorry about not having my poop in a group. Okay, so let's talk about Hannah has been a member for 14 months. That is amazing. You are amazing. Thank you so much for the continued support. Let me get you an amazing from Basil.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing that milestone with me today. You are amazing. And thank you so much. Boggs, good to see you. Good to see you. Holly, good to see you. TikTok. Did I say something else? I probably did. Y Angela. I didn't see that you were here, but hello and thank you for being here. I don't mind if you share out the live, but this live is going to be going over the prosecutor meeting and the post Julie made. I am going to go live on Allegedly Chroma to talk about being dragged, but that is not this stream specifically. American Patriot said, Jesus died so you could live. Random reminder for the day. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we are going to start with the post that we're going to kind of go backwards and start with the post that Julie made after the hearing. Okay. So this was dropped in a Discord. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm going to read it to you and give you my thoughts on it. Julie Skolnick said, hey, dropping the charges was not a thought in my head when I woke up on Monday. But after meeting with the prosecutor and knowing the defendants made an, quote, 11th hour, unquote, request just that morning that would guarantee more weeks, if not month-long delays before having a trial, I felt crushed once again. To that, I know that we had spoke about like telling Brittany J that she should probably get a lawyer. I personally, and this is just my opinion, I think it had to do with something else. I know that the prosecutor spoke to Julie and Al, but I think he spoke to them about some other things, and that's just my opinion. Continuing, the prosecutor has been inundated with people emailing him with so-called, quote, evidence, unquote. He received a barrage of emails just in the last few days. He was upset by people calling into question his ethics. In fact, he seemed more disturbed by that than what has happened and continues to happen to me and my family in the past 6 months. This case has dragged on. I do think that he was rather upset about his ethics being called into question. I do think that I agree with her there. It does seem that he was more upset about that than he was about this case specifically, but I think there's a reason for that. Southern Mimi, too, thank you so much for becoming a member. That is amazing of you and so very sweet and supportive, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I will grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much for the support. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Oh, did she? I didn't know that. Dino Bears. Chico said, listen, I've been busting my ass today and really want to take a nap, but can't because I'm still at work and got to get these dogs out again before the rain gets here. That sucks. I hope that the day at work goes by quickly. Hey, Jude, thank you so much for gifting 5 Speculation Station memberships. I'm going to see if I can access who that went to. Hold on just a minute. Let me not. I can. Those memberships went to Tiny D, Wabi Sabi, Ash, Chico's Corrupt Chronicles, I'm sorry, and Terry Ann. If you guys were gifted from Hey Jude and you are aware you're gifted, please tell her thank you. Thank you so much, Hey Jude. I really appreciate that. I will play. I don't want to keep playing the same clip over and over. So, what can I do? We can do a short BJ clip.
You can't make this shit up.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And then we have a new member, Leela. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. I will grab the crazy train. Oh, I got a country as fuck clip. I will play that one for you. Thank you so much for becoming a member, and thank you for the support.
It's got to get dirty, baby. Cornbread fed, we carve it, baby.
I like that clip. Okay. I'm not trying to ignore anybody's comments either. I'm just trying to kind of read through this. So I apologize if I missed some of your comments. Southern Cats, thank you so much for being a member for 15 months and the continued support. That is amazing. You are amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you guys. And thank you for saying thank you, Chico. I appreciate that. Okay. Continuing. I do think that the prosecutor was more upset about his ethics being called into question. And that is because I had stated, I can only speak for myself. It's been stated by other people. When we heard him talk about his neighborhood or basically being in the same neighborhood as Julie, to me, the way he spoke in court that day, I had stated that if the case had become personal for him, he should recuse himself. This is a true crime channel. If you go back on my channel, you can see that we have covered several court cases. We've followed them all the way through to the end. I've done a couple of trials, which is where we streamed for like 8 hours a day and just watched the court case and how it went in court. So for me to see him bring something personal into the situation, it made me question his ethics. Because you, as a prosecutor, you're not supposed to prosecute a case that feels personal to you. Now, hearing what he has to say that we're going to hear in a few minutes, I do apologize for saying that. And I hate that I upset him the way that I did by saying that. But that's what I saw. And that's what I thought at the time. And I think it bothered him because I try to be very honest and upfront. I've not been to law school or anything, but from watching, I've learned some things about the court of law. And so I think maybe he could see my point of view with that. And it kind of made him question a few things. And we're going to hear more about that. So I do want to say publicly that I do apologize for questioning his ethics and saying that it just seemed at that time that it had become personal for him. But he did seem more concerned about that than he was about this case. But there's a reason I think that happened too. Continuing with what she said. She says he wasn't even sure if he would have to recuse himself, and they would have to find someone else to prosecute the case because how they dragged him into everything with the illegal recording of the meeting on April 1st. So the court hearing where it was May. I apologize. Okay. So the court hearing where he talks about being in the same neighborhood as Julie, that was what made me specifically question if the case had become personal for him. And if it, like I said, if it's become personal, then you would normally have to recuse yourself and somebody else would have to take over the case. And so I think that the way it was presented and the way we talked about it and went over it, he could see our point of view by thinking it had become personal for him. And then if somebody thinks that, or if the general consensus through the public is that it might have become personal for you, you might have to recuse yourself. And I find it interesting because on Kick, she was touting about how he's not going to recuse himself, and that's not what he's going to do. If he felt like he had to question if he had to recuse himself, it's going to be to protect the integrity of the case and make sure that the case is handled correctly in the court of law. So recusing himself, if the case had been pursued, would have been the best idea to make sure that the case is handled with the utmost integrity. And it was the May 13th, I think. I don't remember the exact date, but it was the May court case where he mentions living in the same neighborhood as Julie. She continues, as some of you know, I'm preparing to donate my kidney to a very, very deserving person who's in need, and it is becoming a desperate situation. I would not be able to have surgery and also guarantee that I could be available for more court appearances over the summer. I think that that's a commendable thing. If you have the ability to donate a kidney to somebody who needs one, that is a blessing that not many people have the ability to give, and that is a beautiful thing. And if that's what you're doing and that's why you dropped the case, then I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it was a good decision to drop this case specifically, and that's just my opinion, and we'll get more into that. Continuing, she said, became extremely upset at the meeting with the prosecutor. He was sent things from Clue's Discord by the defendant and was asking me, hold on. Okay, he was sent things from Clue's Discord by the defendant and was asking me questions about it as if I was somehow responsible. Al got upset with the prosecutor at the meeting and told him, why doesn't he just go to Yankee Stadium and ask people in the bleachers their opinions? I can understand both sides of that. I can understand him being upset I can understand Al being upset and saying, why don't you just go ask the general consensus of everybody in the public if public perception is an issue for you in this. And again, I think public perception became an issue in this case specifically. And I think the prosecutor talked to them about that. That's just my opinion. Being sent things from Clue's Discord by BJ was the best decision in BJ's defense. Now, I'm not trying to defend BJ. I think she's a piece of shit, to be quite frankly honest. But, I mean, she's not exactly stupid, even though she sometimes presents herself to be stupid. She's very manipulative, and to be manipulative, you have to be somewhat intelligent. And, I think that it was smart for her to do that. Some of the things that are said in Clue's Discord would have definitely helped her in this situation. And considering that this post was made by Julie under this account in Clue's Discord when she was supposed to not even be in there, as per what Clue said on Queen Bee's panel, that she blocked Julie from the Discord, I found that interesting as well. Continuing, she said, I told him I was done. I couldn't stand any more delays, that my friend's life is depending on me to donate my kidney. I think if you were like donating a kidney and had surgery, that you could get a continuance, to be fair, but I couldn't imagine what it would be like to go through the surgery of donating a kidney. So if that's what you're doing, I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think that that person is very fortunate to have you as a friend. Continuing, I asked him only not to make a fuss over it. I didn't want to go to court. He told me I had to, but that he would respect my privacy. So you do have to be in court if you're going to withdraw the charges, because she had to read that statement out and she had to answer the questions that we're going to hear the judge ask her. She continues, but something told me this man wants to give a performance in court, and I said so to Al last night. Al thought I was overthinking things. Okay, it is just my opinion. Hold on. We're going to come right back to that. Cat's Eye has been a member for 5 months. Thank you so much for that. You are freaking amazing. Thank you so much for the continued support. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And you.
Amazing.
Okay. Kirby Barbie OG became a member. Thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate that. Welcome to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate the support. You guys are amazing. Hey, OG Earth. This was not posted by Julie in Clues Discord. She's no longer in Clues Discord. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I appreciate the update on that. Or the correction. Okay. She continues, but something told me this man wants to give a performance in court, and I said that to Al last night. Al thought I was overthinking things. I think that the prosecutor, personally, this is just my opinion. I was not there. I did not see. I do not know. But I personally think that the prosecutor saw kind of both sides of this situation, and he went to Julie and he said, Julie, this is just alleged. It's my opinion. I think he told Julie when he was sitting in the courtroom in the aisle talking to her and Al, I think he said, Julie, now you have the right to pursue this case to the fullest extent of the law. But I have information. I have all this information. I have this, I have that. And, maybe even showed her evidence. It said, if we pursue this case, I don't think it's going to end the way that you think it will. And it could end up hurting you more than it would benefit you. So I need you to think about, is this really worth it? Is it really worth it to pursue this? At this point, when there's all of these things that, kind of show both sides of it. And there's a reason that I think that. We'll get more into it during the court hearing. To me, that's kind of what he's saying the whole time. She continues, but that is exactly what the prosecutor did. And then at 3:13, it all could have ended after my statement and questioning by the judge. And it could have. She's absolutely correct about that. But this prosecutor felt the need to make a fucking speech to defend his reputation. And then started talking about allegedly speculating and praising her. I couldn't fucking believe my ears. He has no idea who she is, the name she has called me, the disfigured cartoons of me she puts on her thumbnails. Now, I thought that I had just done that on allegedly Krama, so I was like, he probably didn't even see that. But this one has that picture. Now, that is the only picture I have put of Julie that's not her. Actually, that one was an AI generated, but it wasn't like disfigured or mean, because, it looks like it could be a side profile if you look at these two thumbnails together. This one right here and this one right here. This one, she looks angry, but that came from a photo where she was taunting me. So, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have made that. I don't even think I have it because I redid my computer. I don't. She put a picture in Clues Discord, and she was saying, like, this is what I look like at 39 or 29. What do they look like? And then that was why when I went into Kickstream that day, I said, Julie, I'm in my late 30s. And, you can see me on camera every day. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but this is what I look like. So I took that photo of her, and I did make her appear angry. As far as calling her names, I don't think I've ever called her a name. She was the one that told me I didn't deserve any respect, called me allegedly speculum, among other things. I don't think I've ever called her a name. If I have, please correct me. I know when I did the second review of the kick stream on allegedly Krama, I did get a little heated, but I still don't think I called her names. I said something about her forehead, but then I followed that, in the kick stream with I wear bandanas and these things because I have a huge forehead. That's something that you can't help. It's genetics. So I don't think that I've ever done anything to demean her other than make the thumbnail where she looks angry. And I mean, if you go on YouTube and on the YouTube streets where people are talking about another creator, you can see that that's really nothing compared to what is done on YouTube. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think that's anything compared to what was said on the kick stream to me when I had done absolutely nothing but say I didn't want to be all up in the camera with the camera focused solely on my forehead. Southern Cats, thank you so much for gifting 10 Speculation Station memberships. That was so very sweet. So amazing of you. I really, really appreciate that. I'm going to try to see if I can see who that went to. Oh, yes. Okay. So that went to Holly, Autumn Renee, UA Crimson Tide, Amy Lynn, Rubber Ramada. Rubber's good to see you. Mercedes, Don't Give Two Shits, Jackie Spider Love, Tracy, Heather Lee, If you guys were gifted, please remember to tell her thank you. Thank you so much, my love. And I will grab the crazy train and pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And then Dutch Girl has been a member for 17 months. Thank you so much for that, for sharing that milestone with us, for your continued support. You are amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And it's so good to see you.
Amazing!
Thank you so very much. Hey, Hillbilly, Belinda, and Boggs. I don't know if I said hey to you. Thank you so much. So I don't know if he saw that or not, but the other part of that I would say is that it is being said that my report that I gave was inaccurate, that I lied about what he said about me. So I would question if the people who say that I'm lying, obviously, if they support Julie or are listening to her, and I have my reasons to believe that they are, when she says right here, he started talking about me and praising me, like, does that make you believe that I didn't lie? Find that interesting too, because my synopsises were fucking fine up until this point. But okay. She continues, the prosecutor was spiraling, and I kept turning around to look at Al, who was sitting in the back of the courtroom. At one point, when the prosecutor was talking out of his ass, Al got up from his seat and started walking towards the table where I was sitting next to the prosecutor, and the police stopped Al and held him back. Now, I was looking at the judge for the most part and taking notes. I could have missed that, but I feel like if Al got up and the police stopped him from walking up there, we would have at least heard something or seen something from the judge, which absolutely could have happened. I definitely could have missed it as I was frantically writing my notes, but I didn't see that myself. I'm not saying it's not true. I definitely could have missed it. She continues, again, people who were expecting justice today would have been disappointed because they only would have learned that there would be another delay, another continuance. That happens a lot in court cases. I think about like court cases that we're just now hearing from, like, gosh, that have been in the works for 7-8 years. Michael Monkey Vaughn, that case is coming to court finally. The Harmony Montgomery case just got overturned. Not long ago, the Gannon Stout case got overturned. So to me, that's more of a case where justice has been delayed. She continues, I've been through a lot, and so has my family. I posted pictures and a quote on my TikTok of Martin Luther King, quote, justice too long delayed is justice denied. Martin Luther King, when he stated that, there was a whole movement going on that was, changing the world as we know it. So I feel like that's not a relation to this specifically. I wouldn't have chose that quote myself, but okay. And I'm sorry that she has been through a lot. I genuinely am. Everybody's going through some shit on here. Every single one of us is going through some shit. And every single one of us has been through some shit. And there are people who have it worse than I do. There are people who have it worse than Julie does. And there are people who have it better. Everybody's always going through something. Nobody's life is perfect. So, I mean, okay. These endless delays have come at the cost of justice being served. But I am alive to fight another day. I'm so glad that you are alive to fight another day. And I hope that everything works out and you stay that way. To be able to donate your kidney and, do all the wonderful things that it sounds like you have plans for. I genuinely hope that everybody learned from this situation and that everybody can try to be better individuals and maybe turn the internet off once in a while and try to move on from things that just probably shouldn't leave the internet, in my opinion. Again, I think that it's a wonderful thing, and I think this friend of Julie's is very blessed to have a friend like that to donate a kidney. That's something that not many people have the ability to do. So I do wish you the best of luck in that, and I hope everything goes good with that. So now we will hear the court hearing. Oh, hold on, I got my lab pulled up. and I'll give you my thoughts on the court hearing. Did y'all see that Alex got arrested? I saw that on Nonsenses the other day, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Alex used to come in my streams. He did documentaries on Delphi, which I thought were really good at the time. But I think the money has gotten to him. I really do. In the Nancy Guthrie case, I saw him get arrested, and he just was showing his entire ass the whole time. I wanted to see what y'all are saying real quick. Let me change my background. I'll play this and check the comments real quick, because I really don't want y'all to feel like I'm like ignoring you or anything. I apologize. Lala Lauren said, so was Julie intimidated or bullied to drop the charges, or did she lie to the judge under oath? That's a good question. I think the prosecutor had a discussion with her about both sides of this situation. And I think the judge saw both sides of the situation and said, this is too much, and the court's being weaponized, and we're going to go there. Real Body Moving says she's been live on TikTok talking about her testing. Has she? Real Body Moving, good to see you. Winnie the Pup, good to see you. I don't think Al knew much. Julie poked at Craig and Brittany. There was one video where she was very aggressive, attacking Brittany about her grandpa being a criminal. Oh yeah, there was a lot of things that happened. I think he learned that over time. You know. Yes, please be respectful, even if you disagree. And well, let me go ahead and play this. Hello, we are here. I'm making this video to give you a synopsis of the court hearing that happened today, June 10th of 2026, between Julie Skolnick, the YouTuber or TikToker, and Brittany Jackson, the YouTuber. I was mentioned in this case, and I do have thoughts about that. The prosecutor spoke kindly about me, and I do appreciate that. He states that he watches my videos and appreciates that I don't put my thoughts and opinions in it. And I'm not going to put my thoughts and opinions about that in here. We will talk about that in a live stream. I think it is important to relay the message that the prosecutor has for all of us and, you know, human beings in general, you know, about how we should decorum, about how we should represent ourselves and be towards other people. And I think it's important to relay that message in this video. So I wrote my notes out shorthand. That's how I do this. And then I go back and write them longhand. I do have about 20 pages of notes here. They are close to word for word, but I'm not going to say exactly word for word because, you know, like I said, they're shorthand and then I write them out longhand. People are talking quickly. Sometimes I could miss a word or two. Please do your own research and formulate your own opinions. I want to ask you a question, UA. I haven't seen, but I heard that you felt like the synopsis was that your synopsis did not match my synopsis, and that actually people said 4 people. I know that you were one of them, but did you feel at any time like I got something wrong? Because if you did, I just want to know what you felt like I got wrong, so I could, when I get the opera, I could go back and check that, or possibly go back and check my notes. I was just curious as to your thoughts on that, because I know that you had talked about it on Just Irishes, I think, but I haven't watched it, to be fair. Cracker Jacks has been a member for 15 months. Thank you so much for your continued support. You are freaking amazing, and I love you so much.
Amazing!
Cracker Jack said 100% everybody has shit to deal with. Everyone. Absolutely. Some is worse than others and some not quite as bad. Always. Always. Hey, Tara. Good to see you. Kathy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Knowledgeable Idiot. Good to see you. I like your name. You can submit an offer request if you ask for the court audio. It is significantly cheaper than the transcripts because they have to send it off and like have somebody write out. Thank you. I haven't watched it. I just
so feel free to offer a request
check it
the
out.
court audio as
that.
I am going to do to make sure you can double check it and make sure you got everything right at your leisure. So with that, we'll get into it and I will go ahead and start with my notes. The one thing I noticed about today was that there was a camera on in the courtroom.
Oh, yeah, I don't know
that
echo
was not there
chambers.
last time. So we were able to see into the courtroom, and I noticed that
So I saw that when Queen Bee, I kicked my desk. When Queen Bee was reviewing this, she said that she saw Brittany on camera last time, and she or that people said Brittany was on camera. I don't know if she saw it. She somehow heard that Brittany was on camera at one point last time, and she was curious. Like she was like, "There, that means there was a camera." I wanted to be clear. When I say there was a camera in the courtroom, like I'm talking about the actual courtroom, like where you see they had like blue, almost like church chairs instead of like pews there for you to sit in, but you get to like you could see the prosecutor's desk and the district attorney's desk and like chairs in the back. But you could tell that it was absolutely a small town because it wasn't like a normal courtroom. Like the background in that video right there, you can see like it's very different. There's like I don't know, like the desks are different. There's usually a podium in the middle where you speak from. There's pews or like long rows of seats. This one just had single chairs sitting in there and like the fold up tables, like card tables, you know. They had that there, and then Julie and the prosecutor are sitting at one of the tables, and there's another table or whatever. So you could definitely tell this was a small courtroom where not many people, it appeared not many people come in and out of the actual courtroom. But what was different about this is that we actually got to see inside the courtroom. If you remember the last synopsis, we talked about hearing Julie. She even mentions, yeah, but you couldn't see me. You couldn't see the prosecutor. And that was correct. We could not see in the courtroom. She was present in the courtroom. We could hear her. We could hear the prosecutor, but we could not see them. This time we could actually see them, which was different. Native Girl, thank you. Native Girl Talks True Crime. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I greatly, greatly appreciate the support. That was so very sweet of you. And I'll grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Thank you so very much. Carl Ferguson, good to see you. Supposed to say thank you. Oh my gosh, I have two. That's crazy. If you're not getting notifications, they say to unsubscribe and then resubscribe, and that should help.
It looked like Julie and Al were at the back of the courtroom, and the prosecutor was sitting kind of out in the aisle of the courtroom. And he appeared to be speaking.
Oh,
to
they
them.
did.
Now it was hard to see. I'm not going to say definitively.
Well, she
it
was like
Julie
holding
and
the
Al,
camera.
but it looked like that to me.
It
It's very
was
small.
weird. It sure was.
Okay, so
That's saying good to see.
the case is called, and it is the state against BJ. BJ is called to unmute. BJ is on camera. The judge introduces himself and says, complainant alleges that on December 4th of 2025 harassment, and ask her if she's familiar with this complaint.
I'd have to see it.
BJ
Crystal
replies,
Burns, good to
quote,
see you.
I'm not sure because Ms. Skolnick has, unquote.
I do want to let anybody know that wants to get it. It is cheaper because okay, with the April 1st hearing where the prosecutor's hearing got leaked, I had called the day before and I had said, hey, I want to see that hearing, or I didn't say I want to see it. I said I want to know what happens at that hearing. Can I get transcripts? And the lady that does the Zoom links and stuff said you can get transcripts. But it would cost like $300 or $400 because we have to send it off and then have somebody else like make the transcripts. She said, if you request the court audio, it will be a lot cheaper. And I actually ended up getting it for free. Somewhere in here. I've showed it to you guys a couple of times. I don't know where it's at in the drawer here because I've been spring cleaning and trying to go through everything and fix it. But anyway, they sent me a disc and you could hear the actual audio. Now you can't release that, but if you're going to request it, I would say request the court audio because you can get it. Like you have to pay for the price of them to burn a CD, significantly cheaper than getting the transcripts. So if you request it that way, it won't cost you nearly as much. And she told me at that time, because I said, can I get a Zoom link to see it as a member of the public just wanting to view it? And she told me no at that time. And I think at that time they weren't aware that you could do that because since then we've been able to get the links and actually be there in the courtroom.
The judge cut her off and asked again if she's familiar with the contents of the complaint. BJ replies, quote, no, sir, not that one, unquote. The judge says, let me read it to you. You were supposed to be here last time and you didn't appear. You were here on April 1st. Thank you. He says May 14th. BJ says, yes, sir, applying to where he said thank you. And then the judge says, not a problem.
I don't know what actual like specific context like textbook definition of shorthand would be. I write it out like, you know, for instance, the prosecutor speaking, I would put P dash and then I would write really, really short, like the first 3 letters of a word. And then I can go back and read it or use the context of the conversation to judge what it says. That's why I say it could be a little different, like it might not be actually word for word. So definitely do your own research and submit the opera, but I feel like they're pretty on point. I also use like symbols, like I'll do the @ symbol, but it's so sloppy. It's so sloppy because I'm just writing so quick. And the and, like the little like thing that goes like that for and like I'll use like 1 letter for the initials of who's talking. It's horrible. Like I don't even know how I could read it. Nobody else would be able to read it, but I know what it says because I've sat in like Zoom hearings, not that type of hearing, but like classrooms and stuff, and like took notes that way. Especially when I was going to get my adult high school diploma, they had just started doing it over like video and stuff. And so writing stuff down real quick. I've done that for a long time. When I would go, I have a criminal past, and when I would go to court and I would want to know something, I would have the gel pens, which are like bendable, and I would be writing really fast and really short just to kind of understand what's going on because I've always been interested in it. And so for me, if I'm interested in something, it clicks, and I'm usually pretty good at it. And this really interests me. That's why I like to learn about it and be there as much as I can. Friday Little Me, it's so good to see you, and I'm glad you made a live. Thank you so much for becoming a member or renewing your membership because I think you renewed. I will grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Thank you so much. All right, I know you are tired of hearing me talk. What'd you say? I knew it's my shorthand, but I don't know that anybody else could read it.
The judge says, okay, you're charged within the jurisdiction of this court that between December 4th of 2025 and December 25th,
I need to grab my
Brittany,
notes.
you repeated threatening statements and alarming, menacing conduct to Julie Skolnick by communicating electronically over social media to Julie. You did suggest bodily harm and death causing.
Okay. I do want to say, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know if she hasn't said that in this stream, then let's just try to like, be a little bit nice. I want people to be able to have their opinions. And if she feels like I lied, then she feels like I lied. That's okay. I would love if you can prove that I lied, I will definitely correct it. Because that's not my intention at all. And I would never intentionally do that. But if she feels like I lied, that's okay. She can have her opinions and she can feel that way. But if she hasn't said that here, then I haven't heard the stream personally myself where she says that allegedly. I haven't watched it myself. So while we can all have our own opinions and speculations and all of that, let's just try to be open to everybody's thoughts and feelings and, understanding.
Fear and emotional distress to Julie. You also displayed content of autistic son through videos and social media. Police reports were made and the civil complainant signed the complaint. Also, Craig, and he asked if Craig is there. Craig replies, yes, sir. The judge says you are charged with making statements, alarming, menacing conduct, also by Julie Skolnick, in violation of the code harassment and petty disorderly persons offense. He says, in any event, you are here today, and I'm glad for that. He calls the prosecutor's name. Prosecutors asked to enter his appearance. The prosecutor does and says he's there on behalf of the state of New Jersey. The judge asked the prosecutor what is going to happen with this case. The judge.
Okay. I have been listening, but not listening to hear what I was saying. So I did get my notes. The judge is like, he talks to them about them not being there before. I'm interested in that specifically. Like, there was evidently some kind of big revelation that was supposed to happen. And like, I've never personally been to a court case where, like if you missed court date, failure to appear, like the judge would call you up in front of the court case and or courtroom and ask why you weren't there. Like unless you were in jail or something, like if you spoke to the prosecutor about it behind the scenes and told him why you weren't there, I don't know why they would like say it out loud in court. And if what is being alleged to have been said was what was said, that's absolutely disgusting. But I don't know why they would make her say that in court. You know, and considering like when we were at the hearing the other time, they were very lenient. They were very nice. They were very understanding. I never at any point thought that they were going to make her say on the record why she wasn't there last time, because I mean, he acted like it wasn't really that much of that big of a deal. Mona Lisa said, well, honestly, it can be described as a mistake. No, it's a lie. That's my issue. I get that. I am honest to a fault, and people like even misperceptions of things that I've stated. For instance, the police report. I will apologize if I said something and somebody took it the wrong way, even though that's not necessarily my fault. I'm honest to a fault, and I try to be overly kind and understanding of everybody's thoughts, opinions, and speculations. People take that as a weakness, I think, and they take advantage of it. But I mean, for me, if I made a mistake, it wouldn't be an intentional lie. However, I would apologize for it because that's just who I am. I don't want anybody to ever misunderstand me or think that I would ever intentionally lie, especially about a court case or something. Now, I do go to Allegedly Crama and talk some shit, but that's just talking shit. I still wouldn't lie over there. Over here, this is true crime. Usually, this is not specifically true crime. No, this case, but the information that I put out is always going to be accurate to the best of my ability, regardless of my feelings, because that's why it's important to me. I have to leave my feelings out of it and say, these are the facts. This is what happened 100%. You judge that, you make your own, opinions from that.
Says that, he has both BJ and Craig on the screen. The prosecutor replies, Miss Skolnick, who is present in court, has advised me in the last couple of days that she wishes to withdraw these complaints. And I have explained to her, I couldn't hear, I have an audible written down. Questioned of her, is this voluntary? The judge says, I will do that, yes. The prosecutor says, but judge, we have a number of spectators here, and there is 5 to 10 minutes worth of history that I need to provide to your honor, because this case goes far beyond the charges that you read to BJ and Craig. And at the appropriate time, I don't know if you want to question Ms. Skolnick first, her withdrawal, or if you want to hear from me first. The judge asked if what he is requesting that the charges be dismissed. So when he said that there's a number of things that he wants to talk about, and there's like 5 to 10 minutes of history, I'm thinking that he's going to basically let her drop the charges for whatever reason, but go hard on Brittany and Craig. Because last time he was like, this woman has her master's degree. She just has 2, adult autistic children, and she just wants to be left alone. And he seemed very much like seeing Julie the way I feel like, personally, in my opinion, she presented herself to him. We're going to hear about how he got sent videos from Nonsense. I personally don't believe that she emailed him those videos. That's my opinion, because it doesn't make sense to me why Nonsense would email the prosecutor videos of her going over Julie, sharing her own personal thoughts, opinions, and speculations, and not necessarily speculations, but her own personal thoughts and opinions. And, some of the clips that she has, I don't see her doing that. She told me that she didn't do it, and I 100% believe that she didn't do it. I did not send the prosecutor my videos. I don't know how he came across my videos. I'm glad that he was able to see the video that I made, where I tried to pull all of the evidence and show, like I always do, this is the report. This is what she's referencing. This is what I found. This is the next report. This is what she's referencing. This is what I found. and not put my opinions in it. That it is important for me, and one of the reasons I started my channel was to put information out like that so that people could have it, they could make their own decisions, and we could talk about it during the live streams. I have no idea how he got that information. I do believe that there are some people, probably some subscribers, maybe some creators, that have sent him some things and he somehow fell upon these. I question if maybe Julie could have sent the links and stuff to the prosecutor and said, look at what all these people are doing to me, because, she felt a type of way about it. And if he said Brittany sent him some things. And probably the same thing. Look at what all these people are doing to me. And then somebody suggested maybe his algorithm put us out there. I don't know. I think Julie felt like I might have done something wrong. That's just my opinion. So maybe she showed him my videos to try to get me in trouble, or to show him, how I had FOIA'd all these police reports. Now, she's never said that I did anything wrong specifically in that department, and I didn't. I did everything legally. I do everything legally so that I don't get in trouble. And because it's the right thing to do, it's the important thing to do. To me, the prosecutor replies yes on Miss Skolnick's behalf. The judge calls for BJ and asks if she understands what the prosecutor just said to the court. BJ says, yes, sir. The judge asks Craig if he understands. Craig says, yes, sir. The judge says, very good. The judge says, all right, Miss Skolnick, the prosecutor has indicated that you wish to withdraw the charges against BJ and Craig. Is that correct? Now, at this point, you can't hear, like the mic is not on, but you can assume she said yes, because the judge. At this point, I can see Julie, and she's sitting and she's got her hair, like she's sitting at the table and she's like down like this, and her hair is covering her face, and she's like reading this paper, and she's like, yes. So she seems very like withdrawn, like embarrassed. And I think she was embarrassed at that point, because I think, it is my opinion, that the prosecutor came to her and was like, look, we've got all these things about Brittany and what she's done, but we also have all these things showing what you have done. And while, yes, you can pursue this case, I don't think it's going to end the way you want it to. And I think that's why he compliments her on her ability to withdraw and saying that it was her decision. I don't think he made her make that decision. I think he just presented her with the things that he had, and maybe said, this case might not end the way that you think it will. Something along those lines. I wasn't there. I didn't see. This is my speculation. But I think that could have been what happened. And then she made the decision as an adult to say, you know what? I don't think that this is going to turn out the way that I need it to. Or, she explained about the kidney. I have other things that I need to take care of. So yes, I'm going to withdraw this case. But I do really think that the prosecutor presented her with things that were kind of irrefutable when it comes to the threats and her role that she played. So Tara said that UA is going around saying, how could Nonsense see her channel details on the paper if it wasn't her, because it was so small to be identified? Well, it was very small and they were blurred out live streams. But when he says a person from Arizona, like I can play the live response to UA sending text messages to a live streamer. And when they say that I was mentioned, the first response is, ooh, and then, don't get mad at us because you're now in a court case. When that, I don't know, I'm not going to quote it word for word, but so they're attacking me off the bat, and then they hear that somebody from Arizona sent a bunch of live streams about Julie, and these live streams were disparaging. Just like most of the internet, you're going to assume that they're talking about Nonsense. And that's what the internet did. And she came out and said that she did not send him that. She said the only thing that she sent him was the link to the Mr. Docket video, and that's because her name was in a police report. I absolutely would have done the same thing. If you put my name in a police report and you're saying that I had something to do with this and I didn't, here's the email so you can use your tech crew that's at the courthouse to track it to whoever it goes to. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I think that you absolutely should, in that situation, email what information you have to whatever entity you need to do that with. Everybody assumed that the emails and it being from a lady in Arizona was Nonsense. And I think the person that sent them wanted it to appear that way.
Yes, I did. And I talk about that in this video. A person from Arizona sent the email. Well, I'll say it I say it close to where I don't know if he said a person in Arizona is what he says, I believe. I'd have to look at my notes. Hillbilly Belinda, thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That was so very sweet of you. You are amazing. Hillbilly Belinda said, without you and nonsense, we wouldn't have known Julie was adding innocent people to police reports. And that's true. Thank you from everyone with more than 2 brain cells. Thank you so much, Hillbilly Belinda. Yeah, I don't think anybody else was FOIA-ing these reports. And I have been drugged relentlessly for that. But for me, if I want to know some information, I'm going to go directly to the source. And that way I know that I have the correct information. That's all it's been for me. FOIAing address, I have went over and over and over, but I'll say it one more time. The reason I did her address for the specific dates of the month of December and then February 13th through 17th was directly correlated to this case because Julie started filing the reports in December. She got the SWAT call in December. I wanted to know if Julie was somehow behind that. And then I wanted to know what was on the temporary protective order. I could not get it out of New Jersey. So I wanted to FOIA that to see if I could get it from North Carolina when they served it on Craig. I FOIA'd the address because it was already taking a significant amount of time for them to get back to me. So if I send in a report asking for anything done in reference to BJ, I would also have to send one in for anything done in reference to Craig. And that would take twice as long because it's 2 different FOIAs. You can only like FOIA one person, as far as I know, on a FOIA. So I did the address so that it would got BJ and Craig at the same time in less amount of time. That's the only reason I did it. And I've been over that. I've shown it to you. There's literally nothing else I can do. So if you want to keep running with that narrative, go ahead, but that's not the truth.
Judge follows that with,
Thank you,
are you
Belinda. I
doing so
appreciate the
freely and
support.
voluntarily? You can't hear her, but we can assume she says yes. The judge then asks, has anyone forced you, promised you anything in exchange for your withdrawal of the charges? At this point, you can hear Julie and you can hear her reply, no. The judge asks, are you under fear or threat or intimidation by BJ or Craig to withdraw these charges? Can't hear anything, Julie says, except sir, because she's talking really low, assuming she says no, sir. He says, okay, you are doing this of your own free will.
She was
Are you
there.
under influence of meds? Can't hear, but he nods his head and says, okay, nothing is. And then he pauses and he says, okay, you understand totally. Julie says, yes, something. It's an audible. The judge says, well, you understand totally. She says, yes, judge. And the judge says, okay. The prosecutor says, yeah, she can read her statement when appropriate, judge. Julie speaks.
Oh,
quote,
I thought that was,
Your Honor,
I thought I saw
for
something
reasons
about that.
I couldn't
I'm
hear.
sorry.
Personal and time-dependent matter, I am asking the court
Hey, Aubrey,
to
hold
allow
there.
me to withdraw all of my citizens' complaints against the parties involved. The
Right.
need for the
That's a good
request to withdraw all complaints in this case is known to the prosecutor and is of
Thank
a
you.
sensitive nature that my family and I wish to remain private. So I humbly ask this request to your honor on my own without pressure or influence of others. Thank you. Unquote. The judge replies, thank you. And then the judge says,
She said that there is information that she has told the prosecutor that she wishes to remain private. I have no idea what that is. Nobody has any idea what it is. But if I look at the police report that she made, where she would not tell the police department that she was referring to Granny's watching, and then she came out on her TikTok and said she was referring to Granny's watching, and that specific report, I wonder if she was referring to the kidney donation because she came out like I'm wondering if she told the prosecutor that and she wanted it to remain private, but then she came out and told it on a public Discord where she knew everybody would talk about it and go over her statement that she said after court. Like the only reason that makes me think that that could be what she said is because that's what she said afterwards. And this isn't the first time that she would like refuse to tell a government entity something, and for instance going back to the police report, and then come out on social media and say exactly what it was. I find that interesting. But again, I do want to say that I wish her the best. If that's really what she's doing, that's a very commendable thing.
says, okay, prosecutor, you wanted to address the court regarding these matters, correct? The prosecutor says yes. The judge says, please do so. Okay, get ready.
Hey, Gateshead.
I don't know if I was telling you or me, but I'm ready. Okay,
I
so
agree.
the prosecutor is speaking. This case came to me the way every other case comes to me, in the ordinary,
You're right.
I couldn't hear it, I guess ordinary manner or ordinary way. This case involves civilian complaints. They were originally written as fourth-degree cyber harassment. The cyber aspect being the fact that this conduct that was alleged appeared on YouTube primarily in the course of prosecuting this matter, as I'm required to do when there is a civilian complainant, excuse me. I've entered.
So, this is going to be important because it seems the prosecutor was very prepared to make this speech. And again, I do think that it's in reference to the suggestion that he should recuse himself if this case has become personal to him. Again, the reason that we questioned if it had become personal was because he said he lived in Julie's neighborhood. I do think that that bothered him when his ethics were being questioned, and the fact that he should recuse himself if it was personal. And so I, again, want to apologize for that because I didn't know the gravity of the situation when I made that statement. However, if a case has become personal for a prosecutor, they should absolutely recuse themselves. But he makes it very clear that it wasn't personal for him, that the statement made about the neighborhood was taken in the wrong context. And that was done by me and I think other people, but I'm only speaking for me.
Interviewed Ms. Skolnick, and we had on April 1st the preliminary hearing, at which time I was in my office in a Zoom platform and in the prosecutor's breakout room with BJ, Craig, Julie, and SD, which we know is Sal DeLuca. Somebody managed to infiltrate that and put it on the internet. That 13-minute
Sorry, Michelle.
Zoom breakout session. The judge says, quote, private session with both defendants, unquote. Prosecutor says yes. The judge says, and with Ms. Skolnick? The prosecutor says yes. The prosecutor says, and nobody, including me, knew I was being recorded or it was being recorded. It's now, I don't know how many thousands of views. At prior court appearance, I said 50,000 because that's what Julie told me, but I don't know how many. But it's beyond ridiculous.
Request them or not.
And Judge, I have to make these comments because I feel our court is being weaponized inappropriately. And I don't want that to happen anymore.
I think the court being weaponized inappropriately is directly correlated to the back and forth and the things that have gone on YouTube between Julie and Brittany. I mean, I specifically questioned the posts, and I'll work on pulling them up as we continue listening, that were made about this big secret being revealed about why Brittany J missed court. If that did come from Julie, and that's something that the prosecutor told Julie in confidence or in private between them two, and then he sees Brandywine's post or all these people talking about this big revelation that's supposed to come out that BJ made about why she missed court, she had the failure to appear last time, that's a big problem if that's the way that happened. Now, if she told it to somebody in her Discord who then relayed it to people, I mean, that has nothing to do with the prosecutor. But to see the way people have gone back and forth that are involved and directly in this case, I think would absolutely make them feel like the court was being weaponized. And that video that I make specifically, I start at the beginning, which was a copyright claim that Julie made against BJ. And if he saw all the parodies and all the things that Julie said against BJ to kind of get her to clap back, which is my opinion, then I think he would absolutely think that the court was being weaponized to carry out the YouTube martyrdom that I think was trying to be accomplished here. I hope not. Lord, I'm way behind. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I'm missing y'all's comments. I apologize for that.
I completely respect Ms. Skolnick's decision that she just announced not to pursue this case. In fact, I admire her for that. In fact, I commend her for that. because he pauses, and I would encourage anyone who is visiting with us today to consider doing the same thing that Julie is. I have learned, Judge, from watching, and I say this. So I think that again, that they, like I've said before, they had a conversation with Julie and said, you know, there's these things going on, there's these things happening that appear to be kind of a back and forth. And so we can pursue this case. You have every right to pursue this case, but I think it would be better if you thought about it again, or, you know, gave it maybe a second thought, if you really want to pursue this. And so I think that she decided to drop the case after he had reviewed what he reviewed, and he's commending her for that because it was the right decision in his opinion. The post that I'm referring to specifically, and was referring to in another post that I made on my channel, are these 4 days ago. Good morning, my pretties. Only 2 more sleeps and wake up to go. I don't know. I can't click on it, but it says 2 days to go before BJ. That's obviously BJ is exposed. We'll even, like, here is the picture where she's to me, obviously driving, and she's wearing this black shirt. So the AI image is still the black shirt. You know, 1 more day to go. Tomorrow, tomorrow the answers arrive. So there was supposed to be this big revelation that was going to happen, that people started posting about, you know, 4 days. I'm sorry, that was 4 days ago, but 2 days before court was actually in session. If BJ told the prosecutor something in private, and then it's being shit like this is happening on the internet, his integrity, the prosecutor's integrity, and what he had said would absolutely be called into question. I don't know that he's seen this, and I don't know that that's what he's referring to, but this is a fucking problem. Like, you absolutely should not be posting things like this. I mean, it would cause people to have a lot of questions about the case and the ethics in it, in my opinion. Okay. This on the souls of my family. 50 to
Not
100
specifically.
hours of videos on this case. I am not exaggerating. It is, if he has seen 50 to 100 hours of videos on this case, live streams, reports done, things like that, then he knows a lot about this situation. And again, that's another thing that makes me think that he might have went to Julie and said, you know, you might want to rethink this a little bit. You can absolutely do whatever you want to do, but just think about it a little bit. Hey, JR, good to see you. What? I'm sorry, I just forgot. Oh, did we ever find out? Allegedly, she said that her baby was stillborn or something. She had a stillborn baby or something, and which I think is stupid, honestly. Like, as a creator, and it was being touted about all morning, there's this big lie coming out on the stream that I'm thinking about specifically. It was said, you better make sure that nobody can hear the baby in the background. And this was before court. And so if these creators were told that BJ said that her baby was stillborn and that's why she missed court, first of all, I would say, did you get verification of that? Like, do you have screenshots of that? Did somebody show you where they said that? Because if somebody said some shit like that, I'd be like, I need some screenshots, because that's a pretty fucking hefty allegation that she made for the reason that she missed court. Now, I do see BJ lying. I don't think she would go that low, but hell, I don't know. She's gone pretty fucking low before. But allegedly that's what was said. There's some Discord messages that were posted. I don't really mess with that person that posted them, but they appear to be Discord messages to me. I don't know. So I just, the way that the stream turned, like, I mean, the creator was just so happy to have information and no information before it come out that was going to come out of the court hearing, and then to find out that the case was dropped by Julie. The way the stream turned and the anger and hostility that can be heard in that moment, I really do think they felt like they had like one up. That's just my opinion. But if you ran with that narrative and didn't get screenshots, I mean, I would need some evidence to go with something like that. I would need some evidence. I'd need to see some screenshots. That's just me. All over the place. There's one particular lady, I'm going
Right,
to say
Nikki.
this to her in a complimentary manner. And I'll just
Yep.
use her initials. Her online
Exactly.
screen name initials are AS.
I was feeling myself a little bit. Nikki said simple, Julie was going to lose, and he told her that. He tells us that twice in his speech, quote, this is a First Amendment case, unquote. Julie was pissed. He watched all sides, period. How dare he want the truth? Exactly.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
That's the way I see it. That's what I think happened, honestly. I don't think that she went in there. I think she says she knew Monday or something. We read the thing. I don't think that she went in there wanting to drop it. I think that's why she was very like covering her face and just you could barely hear her. I feel like she was embarrassed because he told her, you know, you're gonna lose. That's just my opinion. Hey, deep, dark, and disturbing. Trying to get some of y'all's comments.
She did a 2 hour and 39 minute and 57 second presentation of this case, basically start to finish, almost like my paralegal would do. And I
Yeah,
compliment
it was
her because
crazy.
it was very honest. She downloaded all of the police reports through Opera. Now, the judge looked a bit concerned at that moment. I'll show you what he's talking about. Hold on. Okay, so not the two new reports, but this one right here is the one he's talking about from 10 days ago. And it is titled The Julie and BJ Case This Far. And it's 2 hours, 37 minutes, and 59 seconds. That's the video
I
he
don't
is
either.
referring to.
Like screenshots or it didn't happen.
Okay, continuing. The judge looked a bit concerned at that point. He said, and
Exactly,
I will speak of
JR.
Opera in a minute, but she put every police report in chronological order, all of the
Thank
conversations,
you,
and it's
Holly. I
accurate.
appreciate that.
And she, this lady I'm talking
was.
about, kept her own feelings out of it for the most part.
Yep.
But what I've learned, Judge, there are people in this world that hate Julie, and there are people in
Wolf
this
Rider.
world that hate BJ, and there are people that hate both Julie and BJ, but they hate one more than the other. And I can't control that. And I don't condone it. This is what YouTube, this is the internet. It's a tremendous benefit to everyone, but it can be abused, just like Opera can be abused. Now, this lady, AS, she did.
There's been a lot of things said, especially about this case, where people have been like kind of snippy about it. So I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit more about some things said on this court date, specifically about me, because I can only speak on me, on allegedly crime sometime this weekend. Hey, just Samantha. Yeah, that goes back to somebody saying that BJ, I think it was Julie, allegedly, if I remember correctly, Julie saying that BJ submitted evidence that was done by War Eagle and it was thrown out, and she was happy about it. And it's interesting now to hear her say that and say, you know, on that, I think that was all on the kick stream, and that the prosecutor's not going to recuse himself. But then we have all of this going on where he actually did watch the live streams and the breakdowns and things like that. I think that he saw a lot of live streams and he saw, I mean, he talks about how he's seen, you know, that people feel one way about Julie and people feel one way about Brittany, and some people don't like either one of them. I do not like either one of them. I definitely dislike BJ a lot more than I dislike Julie, though, to be fair. And I don't know who sent in my videos, but it, like I've said from the beginning, it's always been my intent to show just the facts without my opinions in it. So if he saw a bunch of live streams where people feel one way about one person and one way about another, I'm glad that he saw my video where I just put the facts in, the Opera request, what I could find as far as the threats, and I did put the threats in there, and everything that's happened in this case so far, because it is an accurate representation of the case. The judge did look a little concerned when the Opera requests were brought up, but it's completely illegal to do that. It's legal for me to put it on the internet. I make sure and redact ages and addresses and specific names and things like that, even though you don't have to. And he's going to speak on that.
Everything legally. And I have. And I have no quarrel with that. In fact, I have watched her 2 hour, 37 minute video 3 or 4 times. And I recently watched some of her other videos where she reports these things. She keeps her own opinions out of it. In fact, I have learned from watching her that she doesn't particularly like BJ or
That's a good
Julie.
point.
And that is true. Nevertheless, Opera, I am not the legislator. I am not the governor. I am simply
Me
a
too, Bubbles.
prosecutor doing my job. Opera exists for very valid reasons, but it is subject to abuse. And I am not suggesting that anyone abused it here, but we need to be careful, especially when there may be sensitivities, I apologize, involved. I'm talking about children or spousal interfamily issues, things of that
Hey, Lily
nature.
Hyde.
And this case is not that. The first time I met Julie, I said, "How do you know these people?" And she said, "Well, I don't really know them. I know them through YouTube." Right. Okay. And I
Yes.
said, "What are you talking about?
Thank you.
They're 600 miles away in the Carolinas and you've never met."
It is hot
But I
as
have
fuck.
learned through this case that people have tremendously different opinions. As kind
My
as
towel wasn't in
possible,
the center.
our court is not equipped. Let me back that up. God chose to put 8 billion of us on this planet at once. It is inevitable that some are going to say and do some things that will offend other people.
So he goes into this whole speech where he's like, there's 8 billion people on earth, and you know, it's inevitable that somebody's going to say or do something you don't like. I found it interesting that he related it to, like, you know, there's an extensive amount of people on this earth, like going into a long drawn out speech, and he does. Even the judge is like, I need you to wrap it up. But I feel like he knew that it was going to be reviewed. He knew it was being watched, and he really wanted to get his point out there. And I think it's important for us to understand that there's always going to be somebody that does not like the way you do things and somebody that has something to say. I have said many times that people can review my streams, and if you want to drag me, you can drag me. I'm not going to strike you, because I put myself out here on the internet, and the live streams and videos that I put out here, I put them out here for the general public. And some people are not going to like the way I do things, and that's okay. Some people are going to have critiques, and you know, maybe I can learn from them. But as a creator, we have to expect that some people are not going to like it and some people are going to talk about it. I think in this case specifically, him talking about this at this point, that there's going to be people that do things that you don't like, I think is directly correlated to the Julie BJ case. BJ and Craig did some things that Julie did not like, and I know that Julie did some things that BJ and Craig did not like. And I think that when he references taking the bull by the horns and handling it yourself, I think that's absolutely correct, and that's what we should do. If it's bothering you to the extent that you feel like you have to file police reports, I would say get off the internet. Like for me, I'm not like, unless you're in front of my house or like sending me, you know, letters in the mail where you cut out letters from a fucking magazine, like I'm gonna kill you tonight. I'm not gonna contact the police. If things ever got that bad, I would log off the internet for a little while and just take a little break. And it's good to take a break. I think if people did that more and understood that when we put stuff out here, people are going to review it, people are going to talk shit, and it is what it is. You just have to expect it, that we would all be able to get along a lot better and the internet would be a better place. Kanga, thank you so much for gifting 5 speculation station memberships. I don't know if it'll let me see who they went to. I can't. They went to Auburn Warfare, Leon, Darcy, Hillbilly Belinda, yay. Where did I miss? Oh, Cindy from sunny South Florida, yay. That's awesome. Thank you so much for gifting those memberships, Kanga. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. You are amazing.
Amazing!
Thank you so much. And I will grab the crazy train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Thank you again. That was so very sweet of you. I really appreciate it. Hey, petty as fuck. And YouTube bad actors, I was just scrolling and saw y'all's emojis. Yeah. Kraka said, I think if some believed their own word wasn't superior to everyone else's, that would help too. I know that's fucking right.
Boom, 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 bam.
I agree. Hey, Alex Erickson, good to see you.
Get it. I offend people by not
So you
pulling
say
away
good to
from
see
a
you.
red light when it
Honey,
turns
Elder, good to
green
see
in
you.
less than a millionth of a second. I get horns blown at me and hand gestures, but I don't really care. But harassment, like love, is in the eye of the beholder. So what may bother me may not bother someone else. So I am respectful of this.
It was a
What I don't respect is that our court is being weaponized and monetized because these people get paid on YouTube, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. Apparently, YouTube has no problem with it. So it's not my business. I stay out of it because I choose to. Judge, that 13-minute prosecutor's video, just to give you an example, the judge interjects, quote, did she report it? Unquote. Julie, did she report it to jurors?
it sounds like I said jurors. I meant jurors. Petty, I'm gonna be my chat is open for everybody to come in and voice their opinions and ask their questions. This what I called the SWAT. I think I said alleged SWAT, but if I didn't, it was indeed a welfare check. Um, and I'm going to be kind to people. I will always be kind to people, even when they are not so kind about me and other places. I'm trying to find that paper for you. Going through all of the police reports. Oh, here is that picture that Julie sent that made me make the thumbnails. Hold on. I did find that. We will see. This is what I was referring to when I was talking about the pictures on my thumbnail. It says, it's from Julie Skolnick in a Discord, and it says, here's me at 39. How old is allegedly speculum and no sense? And you can see she's got a picture of her. I said that she's a very beautiful woman. I am not 39 yet, but I'm close to it. And you can see she's already calling me a name. I've never had an interaction with her at this point. The only interaction I've had at this point, present time, is during the kick stream. I am looking for the welfare check document, but I am not finding it. So I could show it to you. Yeah, it's not going to be here. If you'll, oh, wait a minute. Here. Okay. I've got it. It was a welfare check. If I said the SWAT, I meant alleged SWAT. It was what it was being called a SWAT at the time. So this is what I got when I submitted a FOIA from the Office of the Sheriff in Scotland County on December 5th of 2025 at 10:05 a.m. The nature of the incident was a well-being check initiated following a report of threatening statements involving a firearm made during an online video. The involved parties was Craig and Brittany, and the responding personnel was Lieutenant Detective Gagnon and Detective Wilson. And it reads, on December 5th of 2025, Lieutenant Detective Sean M. Gagnon and Detective Corey Wilson with the Scotland County Sheriff's Office responded to the residence in North Carolina to conduct a well-being check. The response was initiated after an anonymous report was received indicating that a male subject had made statements during an online video suggesting the use of a firearm to harm others. Detectives arrived at the residence and made contact with the occupants who were cooperative. Detectives explained the reason for their presence and conducted a welfare check to ensure the safety of individuals at the residence. During the contact, detectives addressed the reported statements and discussed general safety concerns. Based on the detectives' observations and information obtained at the scene, no immediate threat to the occupants or the public was identified at the time of the response. No arrests were made in connection with this incident. The call was handled as a well-being check, and the incident was documented and closed. Status is closed. This is all I got. Some people have gotten other information that seemed to be like more in-depth police reports. This was all that they sent me. I will, however, say, when I was just reading this to you now, the response was initiated after an anonymous report was received indicating that a male subject had made statements during an online video suggesting the use of a firearm to harm others. If they got a call saying that there was a man with a firearm and he was going to use it to harm others, I could absolutely see them going in with their firearms ready, because Okay, if you're a police officer and you're responding to an address and you know that there's a firearm and there's this person that's allegedly saying they're going to use the firearm, you're obviously going to go in there like SWAT, in my opinion. You're not going to go there and knock on the door. Well, you're not going to go there without your protection and without your people to make sure that if there is a male subject in there and he's waving around a firearm and he, for whatever reason, wants to take everybody out, you're going to have the manpower and the firearms to try to stop that from happening. Now, it's not classified as a SWAT, as per the Scotland County Police Department, is classified as a well-being check. And I asked for incidents in the month of December. This was the only incident I got back. And I still, in my opinion, think that the anonymous report or the anonymous caller could have been Julie. That is my opinion, because at this point, she was making the police reports, and there have been, actually, I think the first one was made December 9th. So December 5th, there might not have been one made at that point. But I could absolutely see Julie trying to call in, if I'm going to speculate, and try to make something happen with that, because that is a serious situation requiring some kind of serious response, because that was the situation where he was waving around a firearm. And when she didn't get the response she wanted, I could absolutely see her going down to the police report and filing the reports that she filed. That is just my opinion. I was not there. I did not see. I do not know. Okay. Going back to this.
It's been reported. That's the judge. And the prosecutor replies, it's been reported. That's a real good question, Judge. This case started with a referral to the county prosecutor's office.
To an extent, but that's
the
the only thing
prosecutor, even though it alleged cyber harassment, which is,
and she's harassed because of what she says and does. She comes on here and she says things that we know are lies, and a lot of people are going to be like, I know you're lying, and here's the proof of you lying. I myself have done it and might do it in the future. I don't know, but she upsets people when she lies and says a lot of shit's happening that's not actually happening. Was it not stated that the SWAT was a mistake by the sheriff's office? I don't remember. It might have been. I don't remember everything from that time period. They're saying, Michelle says yes, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll say that I've broken the law, and I've never had them show up like that with firearms out. But I've also never had anybody call in and say I was like, had a firearm and it was going to be, I was saying I was going to use it,
is not cognizable. I can't say that word. Cognizable in this court. The
Right.
judge says it's an indictable offense. The prosecutor replies, because it's an indictable offense, nevertheless, send it back here as simple harassment. Now it's cyber because it's YouTube by
Okay.
definition. But the county prosecutor's office chose to entrust it to us here.
Hey, malicious
Okay,
intent.
fine. That happens often. And I take my responsibility here seriously. And I investigated this case like I investigate every case that's entrusted to me. I got an email, Judge, from someone in like Arizona, and I'm holding up a piece of paper, and you can see there's all these little colored blurs.
Okay, I feel confident in my notes because UA was asking about that. I feel confident that he said, I received an email from somebody in Arizona containing all these links. I will back that up because I know you asked about that specifically, and I saw that question. If anybody else has had questions that I've missed, I do apologize. Okay, I'm going to replay this for UA because I know she had a question about what specifically was said. This is what I got. I'm not going to say it's word for word, but it's what I wrote down.
Like I investigate every case that's entrusted to me. I got an email, Judge, from someone in like Arizona, and I'm holding up a piece of paper, and you can see there's all these little colored blurs, links. I click.
So he says he got an email from somebody in Arizona. My question would be, how do you know, though, that it's from somebody in Arizona unless they said, hello, my name is, Jane Doe, and I live in Arizona, and I wanted to share these videos with you. Like how you wouldn't know that they came from Arizona unless the person mentioned it. I don't think that they traced the email back to see where it came from, considering we still don't know who shared the link with the video that was recorded at the prosecutor meeting when the Mr. Docket person has emailed
or that link has been emailed. If they could trace it, I think they would trace that one and find out who recorded the prosecutor meeting and put it up on the internet. And knowing that that hasn't happened yet, I don't think that they would have traced the email of the person who sent them links and know that they came from Arizona. So how would they know that they allegedly came from Arizona unless the person said in the email, I'm from Arizona? Okay, hold on. Thank you for letting me know. I got an email from someone like in Arizona. Okay, let's go back. I pull up the transcripts. I can try to find it. Not the transcripts. Okay. Hold on. Often. And I take my responsibility here seriously. And I investigated this case like I investigate every case that's entrusted to me. I got an email, Judge, from someone in like Arizona, and I'm holding up a piece of paper, and you can see there's all these little colored blurs, links.
Hold on, sorry.
I clicked on every, but the county prosecutor's office chose to entrust it to us here. Okay, fine. That happens often. And I take my responsibility here seriously. And I investigated this case like I investigate every case that's entrusted to me. I got an email, Judge, from someone in like Arizona. Okay, so yeah, I wrote down from someone like in Arizona, like he's trying to remember but can't call out specifically. If I say I saw a video like yesterday, I'm trying to remember if I saw it yesterday or if it was a couple of days ago. So if he said that, if I wrote that, then that's what I feel like he said. And I feel safe in saying that he said that. But so if he's trying to remember and said that it was from somebody in like Arizona, it could be that that person said they were from Arizona. Their email address was like, you know, Jane Doe, loving Arizona or from Arizona at gmail.com. We just don't know. And the person emailing might not have said that at all and could have said these videos were made by nonsense. She lives in Arizona. Considering the amount of emails that he has probably gotten, I would think that it's not out of the realm of possibility that thinking the person that emailed him is from Arizona could have been a mistake, and the person who emailed him could have said that a person in Arizona made these. Here we go. I got an email, Judge, from someone in like Arizona. And I'm holding up a piece of paper, and you can see there's all these little colored blurs, links. I clicked on every one and watched every one of these videos, which were disparaging to Miss Skolnick, is what I have written down. Yeah, he got a lot of emails. I'm positive he got a lot of emails because that's what happens. It's what happened with the RICO too. Okay, so that's, I think he mentioned it twice. She says, Nonsense says he mentioned it twice. That's one that I have. I'm going to continue and check your comments. And I'm holding up a piece of paper, and you can see there's all these little colored blurs, links. I clicked on every one, and I watched every one of those videos, which were disparaging to Miss Skolnick. Yeah, I would have. It's just amazing the kind of anger and hatred that's out there. Judge, I would love, if I sent the prosecutor something, I would absolutely come on here and say, yeah, I sent the prosecutor this, or I sent the prosecutor that. I've got no reason to lie. If I feel like I need to send him something, I'm going to be like, yeah, I fucking sent him something. And Nonsense did. She said, yeah, I sent him the link to the Mr. Docket video. And again, that was important because her and Queen Bee were being mentioned in a fucking police reports about having been behind it. And I've said many times before, I absolutely would have emailed the link of the video that I got of the email to the fucking prosecutor and said, this is the email. Maybe you can trace it back. I don't know, but here it is, since you weren't given this information in the police report, which the police report wouldn't necessarily go directly to the prosecutor's office anyway. He might pull them to look over the case, but it would be important to make sure the prosecutor got that information too, so that it could be investigated. I mean, you can't investigate where the email come from if you don't have the email and if that was not given to the prosecutor to look into.
And she admitted that. Like, I don't see a reason why she would lie. Just like I said, if I had emailed him, I would absolutely say, yeah, I emailed him. I don't know. I didn't email him my videos, but if I had, I'd be like, yeah, I emailed him my videos so that he could have the information that I said. I don't feel like my videos are worth a prosecutor looking at, honestly. Like, I don't feel that important, regardless of what some of you may think. I definitely didn't email him the videos, but he got them somehow.
To cure this, honestly, Your Honor, I am not that good. There's nothing I can do
I
that can
question
solve
that too.
this. I will say this is the kind of case that I will encourage. He stops for a minute, and Julie has taken the initiative to do it without my suggestion. But my
I agree with
thought,
that too.
if you're interested in my thought, just as a human being, not even as a prosecutor or a
I
lawyer,
can see that too.
is why don't we all just do what we were all
I
taught
agree.
by our parents, which is to treat people with kindness, courtesy, and human decency and understanding, patience, compassion, and empathy. And that's what we need. I mean, to ridicule a person's appearance right now might
Pay
be
cash.
somebody don't like my tie, or I don't know what they don't like about me, but that, like I said, that doesn't bother me. It's just completely overbearing. That does not mean that there's any criminality involved. Unkindness is not forbidden by law, and that's possibly part of the reason, and I don't know, Julie's
True.
reasons. And to the extent that I do, I choose to
Oh,
not
yeah, no
disclose
problem.
them out of
Good to
respect for
see you.
her.
I hope you have a good day.
Let me make sure I didn't miss a page.
Okay, Boggs, have a good
Okay.
dinner.
Let me
I'm gonna
read
go
that
cook in a
sentence
minute.
again. Unkindness is not forbidden by law, and that's possibly part of the reason, and I don't know Julie's reasons. And to the extent that I do, I choose not to disclose them out of respect for her. That made more sense. But now, with the help of the other people involved all over the country, I'm talking Arizona, North Carolina, the judge says, I'm hoping right now, I'm telling everyone listening, I hope nobody is recording. Screenshot.
The judge interjected at this point and was like, make sure nobody's recording. But for the prosecutor to say in that moment, I think we all need to do what our parents told us and, treat each other with kindness, respect, and dignity when he's referencing Julie and what has been sent to him from people all the way from Arizona, North Carolina, and all of that. I think he's saying from both sides, just kind of take it with a grain of salt and move on. Maybe we shouldn't be weaponizing the courts for these things that appear to be kind of frivolous, and it appears to be both sides going at the other. I will say that Brittany said that she felt upset or something because she didn't go at Julie specifically from her side. Um, I would say that that's true. Like maybe after the charges started getting filed, she stopped, but she absolutely responded to Julie, and Julie absolutely had Craig saying those things in the background that some were taken out of context, some were about Julie. But if Craig or her had never spoken about Julie, then Julie wouldn't have had the stuff to take to the prosecutor's office. So I do agree that it was both sides. However, I think that BJ did stop after the court papers or the police reports started coming out. And that's just my opinion.
Shots, anything, audio, video involving this session. Prosecutor, this has taken on, the prosecutor continues speaking now, and the prosecutor is saying, this has taken on a life of its own. This has taken on a life of its own. It's got a traction like more than Carmelo Anthony homicide conviction trial that's going on. He was saying, what's in the news right now? That's the Carmelo Anthony trial. It's got more traction than that, according to the prosecutor. Judge says, okay. Prosecutor says, I mean, it's unbelievable. The judge says, all right, what I'm going to do, prosecutor interjects once, judge, a couple of things.
So at this point, the judge is getting kind of tired because the prosecutor has gone on, and the prosecutor's like, wait, hold on a minute. I still got more to say. Dutch Girl Podcast, thank you so much for getting 5 Speculation Station memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. And I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And you, I'm so glad that you're here. I have been glad to see you the past couple of days because I had not seen you in a while. So thank you so much for being here.
Those memberships went to Just Samantha, Deep, Dark, and Disturbing, JR Remembers, Cash, and Alex Erickson. Yay! Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that y'all were gifted, all people that have been talking in chat. Thank you so much, Dutch. And I will grab the crazy train to pick our new members up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Yeah, there is always a distraction. This is the log house sector, that's for sure. Peekaboo said that was a huge exaggeration. The Carmelo Anthony trial coverage was everywhere. He was being super dramatic by saying that, in my opinion. That is a good point, too. To think that this case has gotten the attention of the Carmelo Anthony trial, that's a big issue because I think that's on like mainstream news. Now, the prosecutor was probably sent things from this sector specifically, and so he saw all these live streams and all these videos that had to do with this sector. And again, I think it might have been Alex Erickson. There was somebody who said that like once he started looking at the videos, it probably got in his algorithm, which is absolutely true. So for him, not knowing about this sector and what happens if he's looking at specific videos that he was sent and then his algorithm is full of all these other people and all these other videos, he would absolutely think it's bigger than it is. The Carmelo Anthony trial coverage, this is nowhere near that. However, it is a big thing in this sector. And so it goes to show, you know, the prosecutor, like they're in a small town in a small area. I know that there's like 9,000 people, which for me is a lot. I would hate to live somewhere where there's 9,000 people in a 3-mile radius, but you know, this is New Jersey. So I think for him personally, like being there for 49 years or most of his life, and to see it, the New Hadelton courts and police reports put on the internet, and this case talked about specifically like it has been, I think it's a big deal. But to say that it's like the Carmelo Anthony trial is a disservice. I agree with that. Yes, exactly, Hillbilly Belinda. For a small town prosecutor, I think it absolutely is a big deal, but in all reality, it's not. The judge tells him to finish up. Prosecutor continues. I don't want anyone to construe her withdrawal of these complaints as being energized, because that's not what it is. I don't want today's proceedings to result in heightened discourtesy against anyone. And No,
when
you
I
don't have
say
to corner,
not
sweetheart.
weaponize us, our police department, which is open 24/7, 365, Your Honor and I, our court staff, are here to entertain anybody's complaint for anything. And then it goes through. So there he talks about weaponizing again, and then references specifically the police department. That's why, again, I think he's talking about Julie in that instance, going and filing all these police reports. I think he feels like his police department has absolutely been weaponized. And I think he's referencing Julie there. I do, just using the contextual clues that we have been afforded. The next round would be way bigger and worse and involve more people knowing her. Yeah. Hey, Kiwi mate. Good to see you. A screening process that's certainly open to everybody at any time. I'm not suggesting it's not. I just don't think that this
Really,
case
Sarah?
warrants the kind of energy that it's gotten. My integrity has been impugned in this case, and it's partially for the reason that people only know one side,
Right.
just like I only know one side of this. The way our court system works is when I represent an alleged
I think he
victim
just wants to be done with
complainant
it.
as Julie, I only hear her side. I don't hear the other side until I get an email like this, and he holds up the Arizona email with the blurred out boxes and links and things. Or some. So he's saying that he only knows both sides because he was sent emails, and for whatever reason, people, you know, said, you need to look at this, you need to look at this. Again, it wasn't me. I sincerely believe nonsense when she says it wasn't her. There's no reason for us to do that. But it was important for him to see that. I didn't make sure he saw it myself, you know, but I mean, he learned both sides of the case. And for me, I think it was important because last time he was talking about how Julie had a master's degree. She just had 2 autistic children that were adults.
that she wanted to be left alone. And I think when he got sent all this information, he realized that maybe she doesn't want to just be left alone. Real Body Moving said, you guys remember the live she did where she was upset the county prosecutor didn't, quote, pick this up, unquote, and that she was going to go to legislator. I don't remember seeing that, but I could absolutely, I believe you when you say that happened. I could absolutely see her doing that. Hey, PJ, second chance. Good evening. JR said also the prosecutor meeting have been recorded, leaked, and uploaded, probably caused more attention by him. Yep, that's true too. And that's a good point. I wonder if he would have looked as deeply into it if that had not been uploaded and leaked like that. Be careful, you're going to be on camera with the oil on your face from working hard. All right. Or some of the other communications I've got. Then I can investigate that. I'm not going to call BJ or Craig and ask them for their version. That would be grossly improper. The judge says the defendants in this matter, as the defendant in any other matter, is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecutor agrees. The prosecutor says BJ has chosen to share some things with me, which I respect and I've accepted, and I acknowledge receipt of that. I know, Abamos, good to see you. Happy Friday. I know before that I said that BJ would be stupid to email the prosecutor because the prosecutor is kind of working against her. And I still believe that. But in this instance, the fact that she did send him things, it worked out in her favor. I definitely would not advise doing that in every case because technically the prosecutor is representing the defendant and the prosecutor is representing the witness or representing Julie, and BJ is not. BJ is the one trying to defend herself against the charges that the prosecutor is backing Julie on and bringing against her. So my advice would absolutely be get your public defender and then give your public defender that information. But it worked out for her in this case. I don't know if they've got good luck. I don't know if God's on their side. I don't know what's going on, but I do know that the RICO case has been won by Granny's Watching, and that they're going to have to pay up for that, as they should. They absolutely should. That is my opinion, and I will not back down from that. What they did to Granny's Watching was horrible in that instance. Now, I don't agree with Granny's Watching. I've got a lot of issues right now with that situation, but with Granny's Watching and the lives that have been done referencing me in the past couple of days, not the RICO. I think that I'm glad that she won the RICO, and she absolutely deserves to celebrate that. And I hope that she takes BJ for everything that she's got, because what was done to her was absolutely wrong in every aspect thereof. But I've been doing this for 49 years. I've spent 17 years as a member of the New Jersey Supreme Court Ethics Committee. My integrity and ethics are paramount to me. Now, part of my comments back on May 13th, I said I was talking about Julie, and there was a comment by one of the defendants. We know where you live. We know where your husband lives. We know your neighborhood. And I interjected because that's my personality. I said, her neighborhood, I live in her neighborhood. Well, guess what? We're in a small town.
That's what I've seen.
It's 3 square miles, including water and woods. It's 1.8 miles from the north border to the south border. We are less than 9,000 people. I live by a town that's like 30 miles, and there's like 73 people in that town. Like I was saying a minute ago, I couldn't live in a town with 9,000 people if I could help it. I like being like nobody for miles. I enjoy that very much. Cracker said, that's why I don't understand how it affected Granny when it was over anyway. That wasn't true if it was over anyway. Referencing the RICO, it would have it would have shown a pattern of abuse, or a pattern, not necessarily a pattern of abuse by BJ, but it would have shown a pattern, like the RO against Cletus and Clue would have shown that BJ is a frivolous litigant. I don't know. Let me not use these terms out of context. I have not double checked my statement. It would have shown a pattern of some sort. I could absolutely see that. However, I feel like maybe people got a little happy about we'll talk about it on Allegedly Crama at some point. that's kind of where I'm at, but I'm gonna refrain from that because this channel we don't need to talk about that. However, we are going to talk about some of the things that have been said on allegedly Krama sometime this weekend, probably Sunday, because I got to we're going swimming tomorrow at the lake because Mr. Speculating's working, and Sunday I think it's supposed to rain, so I'll probably be live on Sunday. Found that interesting. Let me hush. I've lived here since 1970 when I was a teen. My family, siblings, and I still live here. I know everybody. My parents owned a business here. I've been in this court prosecuting on countless occasions. So it's
I agree.
inevitable, but I don't want it suggested that in any way compromise my integrity because I'm afraid because I'm a neighbor to Julie who I've never met in my life until 2 months ago. Maybe she shops where I do, but other than that, I've never met her to my knowledge. And to suggest that I'm either intimidated by the other interaction from outside this court or that it has in any way influenced me, nothing can be further from the truth. So again, talking about the videos that he's looked at in this sector, specifically mine, where I stated that if this has become personal for him, he should absolutely recuse himself. I feel like it genuinely bothered him, and I did not mean to bring his ethics into question. I should have slowed down a little bit, but in that moment and looking at it from the outside, not knowing his history and things that he discussed in this live stream, if I heard a prosecutor say that, this person threatened my neighborhood and I live in this person's neighborhood, I live in that neighborhood, I would absolutely think that it had become personal for you, that you felt like this person threatened you specifically because you state that you live in the same neighborhood as the witness does. So therefore it's personal for you and you're going to push more for a conviction instead of approaching it by making sure that justice is served. If you live in the same neighborhood as the witness and somebody threatened that neighborhood where you live at, it absolutely would have become personal to you. I did not understand the context that he meant when he said, I live in that neighborhood. What he meant was that we live in the same town. It's a very different statement. So again, I apologize for calling his ethics into question. Hey, y'all, Nana's not drunk. He continues, the judge says, prosecutor, your integrity is not questioned in this court, in this county, or in this state. Prosecutor says, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
They better do that for a reason.
I just don't want anybody leaving thinking, and this is prosecutor speaking, I don't want anybody leaving thinking, oh, the fix was in. Somebody told somebody something. Somebody shook hands on the side. That didn't happen. I investigated this case just like any case written by my police officers, some of whom were standing here now. And I get both sides of the story. And sometimes there is a side of the story that I didn't hear.
The word.
I get a speeding ticket, 45 and a 25. And when the driver comes in here, I say, why were you speeding so much? They say, I just got a phone call. My mother, she's elderly. She had fallen. I was trying to get home. I was frantic. Okay, he says, is your mother okay? The person replies, she's fine now. Prosecutor says, did you tell that to my police officer? And the person says, no, I was scared. I was crying. I didn't tell him. I hear a second part, and I can think like a human being because we all need to treat each other that way. And we need to have some understanding. And my police officers understand that is how I execute my office as municipal prosecutor. I am thrilled to be here. I love my job. And I think it's interesting that he uses that reference because a lot of prosecutors or a lot of courts, if like you went in there and you were like, I was speeding because my mother fell and I needed to get home. And then they're like, did you tell the officer that? And they're like, no, I was so upset. Then they're going to be like, well, there's nothing I can do to help you with that. You're going to have to pay this fine and deal with these charges because I feel like you're not being honest with me right now. So I find it, commendable that he listens to people and their issues and their statements, and that's something that they do in this area. And I genuinely think it is because we were listening to the other court hearing and we sat there for quite a while before we heard the one before this. I think it was May 13th or something.
And you could hear the judge being like really nice, like saying you have a court fine of like $30 and you're going to pay a fine of like $9. Like one of them was like $39. And I was like, wow, like every time I've ever been to court, it's been like, at least $300 that you're going to have to pay. So I think in this area, it's very much like, understanding what somebody's going through and trying to be compassionate with that. And so for him coming into this and seeing, what's been said about Julie, what's been said about BJ from both sides, I think it was something that bothered him because it does sound like in this area that they're very much on compassion, understanding, and sympathy for individuals as a human being. However, the internet is not like that. It's a completely different monster. So I found that interesting, and I thought it was commendable of him. And it actually made me understand the statement about I live in this neighborhood too, a little bit better than I did before.
I don't want to lose my job over something like this. I just don't want anyone to think that anything went in any way sideways here because it didn't.
Exactly.
I watched all of those videos. And like I said, as far as she's concerned, hers were extremely helpful to me. She oriented me to things that I was, but she also pointed out to me where things looked a little suspicious. I'm going to pause right here and also let y'all know I've never emailed the prosecutor. I did not.
I back my moderators though. If you were, you can email me, but I do back my moderators and their decision. A very liberal state. Yeah, he definitely seemed to have a lot of compassion for human beings as in general. So I'm sure it was a very stark contrast to see this community. I felt so bad when the guy was sitting in his car homeless and he was willing to let the guy prove he's got insurance by the next court date. Yeah, they seemed like that area seems very compassionate. Most courtrooms that I've been in, they're like, I don't really give a shit about what you got going on. You're going to pay these court fines or you're going to go to jail. So it was very different. What's funny is some are talking more about my coverage and anger at AS and myself than have ever mentioned Julie's lies. But I mean, not shocking when liars cover liars these days. I agree. That has been going on a lot.
Reach out to him. I did not send him my videos. None of that. I have spoken to the lady who helps with opera request. And I think it's the same lady that gives us the Zoom link. So I've spoken to her. I've submitted opera requests to the police department. But I've not contacted the prosecutor. So I don't know how he got my videos and started watching them, but I do appreciate his compliments. That was very kind of him. Continuing. And I'm addressing those things now. Wait a minute. Let me take you back so you understand. I said as far as allegedly speculating or AS, as far as she's concerned, hers were extremely helpful to me. She oriented me to things that I was, and he pauses, but she also pointed out to me where things looked a little suspicious, and I'm addressing those things now. The judge says, well, you have no concern before this court. Like I said, I know your integrity. You've appeared in front of this court, not only as a prosecutor, but as a defense attorney. And there's no question in my mind about your integrity, okay? The prosecutor interjects. Judge,
that's why it was important for me to do the video that I did where I just went over, this is what the police report says. This is the live stream where I found the alleged threat. This is the next police report. This is the next threat. Because I know not everybody watches, the live streams. I feel it's important because there's context in there that I can't put in a video where I'm just going over the opera request and then the threat. So it is important, but I get that not everybody has the ability to listen to long live streams. And that's why I wanted to make that video and definitely leave my thoughts, opinions, and speculations out of it. Respectfully, this is a very high income, low crime town. You don't get that same kindness or courtesy in urban cities like Patterson. Really, just me, Sunshine. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I get that. I could see that. Yeah.
This is a First Amendment case. I completely respect the First Amendment. The first or second day of law school, you and I were taught the First Amendment means you can't shout out the word what in a crowded theater. Fire. Yes, fire. Actually.
Yeah, I was like, I answered the question in my head when he said that. Him saying that this is a First Amendment case goes back to, again, I think he told Julie, you're not going to win this case. It's not going to go how you think it's going to go. So I think you should withdraw. And I think she made the decision at the end of the day, because he can't tell her, you're going to have to withdraw this case. She has to make that decision. And again, I think that's exactly what happened. I think that's why she was very withdrawn. I think that's why she was very upset. Or appeared to be very upset, and you could barely hear her when she made her statement. She did state on the record that she did it without duress of her own volition. Nobody promised her anything. Nobody threatened her. So, and she dropped the case. I genuinely think that's what happened. That's just my opinion.
Like in my mind was like fire at that time. You can't shout out fire. Those are not my words. That's the U.S.
I hate
Supreme
that they were
Court, like
talking about
100
your
years ago.
candy.
The First
That's some
Amendment
bullshit.
is not
You try to be
absolute.
nice, and then they're
The
going to
First
talk about
Amendment
it.
needs to be tempered
How
with
petty can we
kindness
be?
and decency and human compassion, and not be weaponized. I respect the First Amendment. I respect everybody's ability to exercise their right under the First Amendment, but not as a weapon. And Judge, this is something else that a lot of the people observing, even those like, quote, AS, unquote, who's tried to be completely, I mean, watching her is like watching 20 counterpoints. She gives everything, both sides of the equation. And I respect that. But I have an oath that these people don't know about, Your Honor. Your Honor.
So that right there, allegedly talking about me and how I presented, as in present both sides without my opinion and all of that, and then him saying, "But I have an oath that I have to stand up to." You know about the oath and all that. Again, I think it goes back to me saying that if this case has become personal for him, he should absolutely recuse himself, and that goes back to Julie feeling upset about him getting up there and feeling like he needed to make this speech and this statement. And it was more about that than everything going on with her. I think he saw some things and he realized that it wasn't being presented as it was being presented. And that the court was being weaponized in his opinion, and he felt the need to correct the narrative because this is on the internet and people are covering this case, and he feels like, obviously, by comparing it to the Carmelo trial, that this is bigger than it actually is. And so he felt the need to put that information out there about his ethics and about, understanding what he actually meant by that, because he felt like there was going to be a lot of backlash, and it upset him to know that people question his integrity. He references being on an ethics committee for the New Jersey Superior Court. That is a big thing. That means that you are a very ethical person. It would upset me to think that somebody thought of me negatively or in a way that could actually impact my job and my way of life and everything that I've done, like my whole life, to get to this point. For him, he's done this for 49 years. This is his life. This is his job. This is what he loves to do. So for him, it was absolutely imperative that he fix his public image. But I do think that he felt like it was a lot bigger than it actually is. Kiwi Mate said his statement reads, and he's covering his own bottom because he allowed Julie to con him. I think that not necessarily he allowed Julie to con him, because as a prosecutor, his job is to represent her to the best of his ability. And so he's going to believe what she says, and he would have no reason not to. That's why it was important for him to look into this. And I'm glad that he did look into it and see some things that he might not have seen originally and understand the case as a whole. I do. I hope she does, though. I do. I question if she comes back to court. I think she's going to have some pretty profound evidence for them to pick it up and continue with it.
Knows about
But
it.
I could be wrong.
Some of the attorneys present know about it. I took an oath, and New Jersey Supreme Court tells me and every other prosecutor, whether it's on this municipal level or county level or on New Jersey Attorney General's office, my obligation. I forget the name of the case, New Jersey Supreme Court case. I had it memorized in terms of this content. The duty of a prosecutor is not necessarily to seek a conviction, but to see that justice is done. I wish I could achieve justice in this case, Judge. I hope Your Honor can put everyone at rest that their case has gotten extremely diligent attention from this court, and that we would love to do justice in this case. But at some point, these people need to take the bull by the horns by themselves and bring justice into their own lives. The judge says 3 parties were affected by this. Quote, Miss Skolnick, Miss Jackson, and Mr. Black. By what you're telling me, I appreciate your comments, Prosecutor LaSalle, and BJ and Craig, before I conclude this matter. Now, this is the judge speaking.
So we're going to hear what the judge said. It seemed like he was reading from a paper. So I think one of his paralegals or somebody wrote up this paper for him to read aloud, and he read it aloud at the end of the hearing. And it's important what he says. There's a point that he's trying to get across. And I think that it's important that we hear that as well as what we've heard so far from the prosecutor. Hey, Tom, good to see you. I saw a comment. Real Body says she's really going to push for the felony cyber harassment, you guys. She really wants to be the first, mark my words. I don't know who the target will be, though. I hope not. I hope if she's feeling harassed, I hope she doesn't feel harassed by anybody. A lot of people, or not a lot of people, it was said to me, you know, why am I involving myself? Well, because I wanted the truth to be out there. I'm not necessarily trying to involve myself, but when I do research on things, I make sure everything I put out and everything that I do is completely legal. And the prosecutor stated as much, that he felt like my coverage was honest and that everything I did was completely legal. So I don't talk. I try not to talk negatively about her specifically. So I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Amy. I know, Cracker. No doubt. Hey, Ronnie. Maybe she learned something from this situation, and maybe she'll take it and truly understand it and value that. That's all I can hope. I find it necessary to address the conduct that has surrounded these proceedings. The court notes that the underlying complaints are being dismissed by the complainant, and therefore no findings of fact or terminations regarding the merits or the allegations have been made. Nothing. See, that was one, like, you can see where I'm trying to read the word merits. That was one that that when I wrote shorthand, I wasn't exactly sure what I said. So that word could be wrong, but I feel it's pretty accurate otherwise. Stated by the court today should be interpreted as a finding that any party is guilty of any offense. That said, the court is deeply troubled by the conduct that has occurred during these proceedings. So him saying that the court is deeply troubled by the conduct that has happened during these proceedings, after saying that the case is being dropped, is directly correlated to the litigants in the case, in my opinion. I don't know, like, obviously when she references Monday morning or Monday being told that, you know, she's making the decision. She wasn't told. She made the decision to drop the case. I think the prosecutor got up with her at some point and they spoke about it, and the judge typed up the statement, or the prosecutor or somebody or whatever. So the judge was familiar with the case and familiar with what was going to happen. I think he had already spoken to the prosecutor. So when the prosecutor is giving out this long drawn out statement, the judge is like, you know, I need you to wrap it up. It's because the judge already knows everything, because he basically outlines what the prosecutor said in his statement to the court in general that I'm reading now towards the end of the case. Hey, Rubber. Oh, Queen V, good to see you. I appreciate you going and getting the information, as my name was lied on several times, and that's when it made a difference to me. Thank you for that, and I'm sorry that that happened to you. It wasn't fair. There's been a lot of things that have happened in this case that aren't necessarily fair and were just wrong. So thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I'm glad that I was able to get that and make sure that you got it and that you were well aware of what was happening. And if I ever saw some things like that again, I would make sure to get it to you. Speaking of, I had already submitted an opera request before we went to court. So I will, if she's filed any more police reports, I will get those back. And I'll probably put them out, but it's not going to be past the date of court. So what was Wednesday? June 10th. June 10th would be the last day for my opera request report to come back. After that, I'm not requesting anymore. Locked and Loaded, good to see you. Just so everybody knows.
The court has become aware of allegations that court proceedings may have been recorded
Hey,
and
Aunt Carter.
disseminated without authorization. That private communications associated with these
I
proceedings have
appreciate
been
everybody being
publicized
civil.
through social media and other online platforms, and that various individuals aligned with both sides of this dispute have engaged with public commentary, podcasts, social media postings, recordings, and other communications concerning these matters. The court will not
Hey, Dina.
tolerate that conduct. It undermines the dignity, integrity, security,
Yeah,
and
of
orderly
course.
administration of justice.
I appreciate you stopping by.
Court proceedings are not entertainment. Judicial proceedings are not vehicles for personal vendettas.
Saying court proceedings are not entertainment. I agree to an extent, but court TV makes millions of dollars a year, if not billions, on going over court cases and court proceedings. So some people find it interesting. I don't know if I'd use the word entertaining. I mean, to an extent, if we're going to be blunt, yeah, they find it entertaining. Some people find it educational. I find it educational and I'm interested in it, so I watch, but there's media companies who make billions of dollars every year going over court cases. This part right here, though, judicial proceedings are not vehicles for personal vendettas. I feel like, I mean, it really goes with this case, and it hits hard because it feels like the court knows that it absolutely appeared as though that this court was being weaponized and the judicial proceedings were being used as a vehicle for a personal vendetta, which is what we've been saying from the beginning. Julie wants to feel like she, in my opinion, wants to feel like she's the martyr. Well, you guys couldn't get BJ taken down. I'm going to get BJ taken down, and you're going to love me forever for that. Miss Sarah, thank you so much for being here and stopping by. You are doing a great job on your channel, and I just wanted to tell you that. I saw that you started that, and I was so proud and happy for you. I'm sorry, Chico. All right. I appreciate you stopping by, and I hope you have a good evening.
Public ridicule, online harassment, or social media campaigns. The courthouse exists to resolve disputes in a fair, orderly, and lawful manner. If the participants or other supporters attempt
A lot of people do.
to litigate matters through social media, public broadcast, podcast, recordings, or other online platforms, they risk compromising the judicial process and creating unnecessary hostility, intimidation, and security concerns. A particular concern to this court is that it jeopardizes.
So if we're going to talk about that, creating hostilities against judicial proceedings and things like that, and jeopardizing the justice and things that were going to happen in the court, I would go back to things like this. I mean, if you know some information about the court date that's going to be revealed at the court date, it's not a good idea to be putting shit like this out here, in my opinion, because if the judge saw it or the prosecutor saw it, they could absolutely feel like that it jeopardized the justice and dignity of the courtroom and courtroom decorum. And I don't know if they did or not, but it could be part of what made him say things like that.
Jeopardizes the safety and security of not only the litigants, personnel, the attorneys, prosecutor, witnesses, and also members of the public.
I hope so.
No person appearing before this court has the right to engage in behavior that threatens, intimidates, harasses, or places others at risk. Nor will the court tolerate efforts to use social media or public platforms to inflame tension surrounding pending court matters.
That's important because I feel like that also was done in this case. That's just my opinion, and it's obviously the judge and the court's opinion too, that there were things done to inflame tension surrounding pending court matters. Going back to what he said about the opera, I could see how they could view me getting the opera requests and putting them out on a pending court case is could jeopardize the integrity of the court case. I did not do anything illegal, and I think that's what he could have been talking about as far as changing the opera request. For instance, here in Arkansas, I'm trying to get the body cam footage from the Arctic Fox case. And I have emailed them a couple of times. I just emailed them again this week and got sent back an email saying that they can't release it because the investigation is still ongoing. There are certain states, a lot of states will not release information to you, police reports and things like that, until the court case is over.
And I think that's what he's referencing, how it could possibly jeopardize the case. So I am at fault for that as well, but I feel like more so using YouTube as a way to say, this is my side and you're going to be on my side, or it's all or nothing. You either agree with me 100% or you don't agree at all and fuck you and the horse you rode in on. That's dangerous, especially in a court case, The court further reminds all persons present that unauthorized recording of court proceedings, court personnel, or private communications may and do
I don't know.
violate
I'm not
court
going to
rules
know because
unless
this is
you are
after
permitted
court.
to do so by the court.
It's a good
They
question.
also violate court directives and applicable laws and may be subject to individual sanctions
see.
or other appropriate legal action.
Hold on.
The court expects all participants and their advocates to comply with those requirements. The court also finds it necessary to address the overall tone and conduct demonstrated throughout this matter. Behavior exhibited by various individuals associated with both sides has reflected a level of immaturity and hostility that is inconsistent with the respect owed to the judicial process.
I agree with that. Everybody was a little bit immature on this case. As far as both sides putting shit out. And I could understand how it would absolutely upset the judge and make him say things like that. Hostility inconsistent with the respect owed to the judicial process. Going back to, this is not a vehicle for personal vendettas. So I've sent several. I sent another one. He said, I have been advised by our CID lieutenant that this case is still open and active, therefore is exempt from being released until the case is closed on our end per Arkansas Freedom of Information Law number 9. Records that are part of an open and ongoing law enforcement investigation are protected as, quote, undisclosed investigations, unquote, under FOIA. And then he cites Martin versus Mustang from Arkansas, 1990. And that was the captain of the Van Buren Police Department. I can't tell you what my request was, but it was about the Arctic Fox situation. The one I sent back on March 9th said, yesterday at approximately 10 a.m. Sunday, March 8th of 2026, the Van Buren Police Department responded to a call. A group of citizens that go by the name of Oklahoma Predator Prevention made a call in reference to TM, possibly a TML. The group, further known as OPP, had pretended to be a 14-year-old child and caught T sending inappropriate links to what he believed was a 14-year-old boy. The police were notified and a report was taken. I am requesting the police report and body-worn camera from this incident. I can pay an invoice as needed. My phone number is, thank you for your time. Have a great day. That was March 9th. I just emailed the other day to check back in, and that's when they said that the case is open and active, so therefore I can't get information on it at this time. Okay.
Regardless of personal disagreements.
Hey, Marlene.
All participants are expected to conduct themselves with civility, restraint, and respect for the rule of law. Let me be clear. While these complaints
Thank you, Cindy.
are being dismissed today, the court decision should not be viewed as an endorsement of the conduct that has occurred. To the contrary, the court strongly condemns any actions that undermine the administration of justice, threaten court security, harass participants, bring disrepute upon the judicial process. Should similar conduct in connection with the future, this court will not hesitate to take whatever action is authorized and necessary to protect the integrity of the proceedings.
So the way that you could protect the integrity of the proceedings in the future would be like submitting a gag order or saying making it unavailable for people to opt or request the police reports. Just like I read the email to you from Arkansas where they're saying that the investigation is still open and therefore I can't get any police reports or body cam. Those are steps that different states take to protect the integrity, to be honest. Darcy, thank you so much for the super chat. That was super sweet and amazing of you. Thank you so very much.
Amazing.
I really appreciate the support. That was so sweet and kind of you. Thank you. Darcy said, appreciate all your time and work putting this together. Thank you for that.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jenny Jen, A1 from day one, has been a member for 20 months. I think that's like about the time I've been monetized because you were my first person ever in my chat. It's so good to see you. Jenny Jen says, hey, everyone. Hello, my love. Thank you for sharing that milestone with me. And thank you for your continued support from day one. You are amazing.
Amazing!
It is good to see you, my dear. Rocky Mountain Hippie, good to see you. I'm sure the prosecutor thought, what universe am I in? I had no idea this was available on YouTube. I was looking up how to fix them. Probably. Probably. Dina Weeks, thank you so much for being a member for 2 months and for your continued support and sharing that milestone. You are amazing. Dina said, so proud to be here with all of you. I'm so proud and glad that you are here with all of us. I'm going to get you an amazing.
Amazing!
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Cindy Kane, good to see you. I definitely don't agree with citizens' complaint process they have in that state. People say, oh my God, this criminal folks need to start demanding to hear what exact criminal code they believe was broken and what the charges would be. I agree with that.
Boom, 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 bam.
I don't know if it played my video. It showed me a blank screen, but okay. Oh my goodness. Darzilla has been a member for 4 months. Thank you so much for being here for 4 months and sharing that milestone with us today. Darzilla said, hey, everybody, hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a wonderful day and happy Friday. I will get you a country as fuck so we can change it up a little bit. Thank you so much for your continued support and sharing that milestone with us.
I scared to get dirty, baby. Cornbread fed, we carving, baby.
Hio, thank you so much for renewing your membership. I love your profile picture. You are amazing.
Amazing!
And I know you will not ride the crazy train. So what can I get for you? I'm going to get you a Theo Vaughn and Stefan one.
Now what the fuck is going on?
What the fuck is going on? I said that during this case several times. Hey, glitter is forever. I did. Hopefully we can talk about it. Hey, Lindsay Hendricks. Safety of all court personnel and the orderly administration of justice. The parties and all others associated with this matter are expected to move on from this dispute, refrain from further conduct that perpetuates hostility, harassment, or public attacks
This is
rising from
concluded.
these proceedings.
Well,
The court remarks are directed equally to all parties involved and made solely for the purpose of preserving the integrity, dignity, and security of the judicial
tornado
process.
Grammy.
Thank you.
Gracious.
Having
Good
said
evening.
that, the state against Craig is dismissed at the victim's request. An order expedite expungement of the matter. Complaint number 10 is also dismissed at the request of the victim. Please enter an expedited expungement on Ms. Jackson's matter as well. All proceedings in this court are completed. BJ says thank you. BJ says thank you again. Prosecutor says thank you. The judge to the judge. The judge says, I missed a part that I wrote. Cash, this case is concluded, yes, but I had already submitted an opera for specific dates, and I will get that back in the next 7 days. I'm going to submit one more just to get through the day of court or maybe the day before. But after I submit that one, I will not be submitting anymore. The one that I'm waiting on, I'll see if I can tell you the dates. Oh, yes. Okay. So I got a receipt of my opera request on Monday, June 8th, but it was sent June 4th because my request was asking for any police reports filed through the dates of May 23rd through June 4th. They didn't receive it until June 8th, and they have 7 business days to respond. So that one will be responded to by the 17th. Now, I've got to submit another request for the court audio just to double check my notes. And I'm going to submit another opera request to the police department to go through June 10th, which was the day of court. And then unless Julie files more charges or there's another court case that's openly talked about on YouTube that we know about, that's all I'm going to be asking for in regards to her because this is over and I'm done with it. I just want to know If anything, because I question if she filed a bunch of police reports like that Monday, and that's when he came in and was like, you know, you need to calm down. So what I have written down is BJ says thank you. The judge says thank you. BJ says thank you again. The prosecutor says thank you. The judge says, okay, Craig and BJ, you may leave. And then he calls the next matter. Lou Tubi, it's good to see you. Why didn't she follow up on the Oh, yeah. Good question. We have been going for almost 2.5 hours, and I do have to go get started on dinner, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today and listening to my synopsis of the court hearing. Like I said, we will be live on Allegedly Crama. I am try really hard not to mix the two. I did that a little bit today. This channel is solely for true crime or court documents, court audio, body cams, things like that. I do not talk about Crama on this channel. However, I think I did drop the link to Allegedly Crama. We will be live over there. It will probably be Sunday. I will try to go before then if I can. And we will talk about some things in the Crama community. There's the link to that if you guys want to check that out, because I do have some thoughts on things being said about the court case and reactions in real time to the court case. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Let me grab yours too. Miss Sarah started a channel. I know I subscribed. I don't know if it'll pull it up yet. Miss Sarah, drop the link for your channel in chat, please, because I know you can get it. I'm subscribed to you, but I'm not able to pull it up yet. Damn it. Chico said, thank you, allegedly, respect to you. And I did get your message. I responded. Did you? I don't remember sending a message, but I will check. What email did you send it back to? It might have been from a while back. I don't know. Yeah, let me know when you responded and what email it was, because I don't think I have anything from you. Or message nonsense and let me know. I've got Crackerjacks I've got to respond to. And then my FOIA. I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, my latest. Oh, okay. I was looking at my email. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Thank you. I'll definitely check that out. Oh, thank you so much. My eye color is naturally blue. So when I wear blue, it like brings it out. Thank you so much. My voice message. Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. I hope you didn't email the wrong person. Sometimes I'm dense as fuck. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I don't have an outro. I don't have an intro. I'm kind of trying to redo that. So for now, we're just going to kind of roll out. Oh my goodness, Ronnie, thank you so much for gifting 5 Speculation Station memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. To my members, you get any videos I put out early. Oh, GEDLY. So any offer requests and things like that, you get them earlier than everybody, usually by like 2 or 4 hours. So I hope y'all enjoy that. I do have the other tier is like where I do like medicinal herbs and my animals and things like that. Okay. Those memberships went to Jackie, Glitter is Forever, Gateshead Angel, Ronnie. Ronnie gifted yourself a membership, and Ange Carter. Thank you so much, Ronnie. That was so sweet and supportive of you. You are amazing.
Amazing!
And I will grab the crazy train to pick our new members up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. If you guys were gifted, please tell Ronnie thank you.
I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
That stuff, I have to be careful talking about BJ because it really like irks me how she uses her community for money. And I worry that I might get into some defamation issues if I talk about BJ. That's why I say, like, I definitely dislike BJ more than Julie. I think Julie is just, she wants to be accepted. and she doesn't know when to stop or boundaries. That's just my opinion of her. I don't think she necessarily means harm when she does things, but I think she tries to impress people and fit in, and takes it too far. That's just my opinion. All right, y'all. That is my pet bunny. His name is Basil. I've had him since he was 6 hours old. I have a picture of him in my hand. He was like that big in my hand. I lived on a farm and they had rabbits, and the mothers, like mother rabbits, if they think something's wrong with the baby, they will eat them. And there was one, and sometimes if they're like just got some issues, they'll just eat them anyway. And this mother had tried to eat her babies for like the second time. There were six. And I had already raised, bottle fed 2 goats, 3 lambs, and there was another one. Anyway, I was really good at with the babies and keeping them alive and getting up every 2 hours to feed them to help out on this farm that we were living at the time. And they gave me the baby rabbits to try to help with them. And out of 6, Basil was the only one to survive. Rabbits, keeping them alive is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I'm also pretty good with birds. I haven't been as good lately. I've got geese, but I had a common starling named Starlet, and he would fly out during the day and he would come back at night, and he was so cool. That was my baby. But he found a mate and flew off. So I've got grand birdies down in, Florida somewhere or something. But Basil was the only rabbit that survived. I was not good at keeping the baby rabbits alive. And he's been like my child ever since. Oh my goodness, goats are awesome. I like sheep though. I like the way they, especially when they're little, the way they bat. It's so cute. And I spin wool. I've always wanted sheep because I spin wool and I want to make my own. All right, y'all. I need to go so I can cook dinner. Paige Turner, good to see you. Oh, squirrels. I've always wanted one. I want a squirrel or a raccoon or a possum, but I've not found one that needs help out in the wild. So I'm not going to go steal a baby, but if I found one that needed help, I would absolutely try to do something. Oh, yeah. I have 3 geese the kids named them Waffle, Eggs, and Toast. Actually, I just did a members only video on that. I'll show you before we go. It can be our little outro and we'll go after that. Hello, Cauliflower. Good to see you. I like your name. I made this because she called me allegedly speculum.
Hide in the bushes and let out that cow.
Oh. Why is it? Hold on. We were at the creek.
What are those? What kind of bug is that?
That was yesterday. I thought that was interesting. Oh.
Hide in the bushes and let out that call. Yep. Hide in the bushes and let out that call.
Says send back the completed opera.
Hide in the bushes and let out that call. Yeah.
This is Basil and the geese outside.
Are you tired? Are you tired? Oh. Gotta get in just the right position, huh? Look at you, fat boy.
Yeah, there's the geese.
That mama fat baby. Him so cute. Look at that handsome baby.
Is it fuzzy for y'all? Hold on.
Look at.
Hopefully it won't be fuzzy now. I don't know why it looks fuzzy.
Are you tired?
Hopefully you can.
Are you tired?
Thank you, Miss Sarah.
Oh.
Hey, Redbird.
Gotta get in just the right position, huh? Look at you, fat boy. That mama fat baby. Him so cute. Look at that handsome baby.
He's so
Look
chunky.
at that handsome boy.
He eats crackers and
look at him, handsome baby. Him's handsome boy.
I hope it's not grainy. It's grainy for me. I'm sorry about that if it is.
What are the kids doing? What do you hear?
You can see his ears.
Him's handsome boy. Look at the mama goose. Y'all ready to see the babies? They're getting big.
That's Waffle.
Look at that baby.
That
Look
is.
at the babies.
That's Toast, and that's Eggs. That one's toast, and that's eggs. The kids name them.
We think we're
waffle,
gonna
egg,
name them egg and toast. So we have waffle, egg, and toast. Look at them babies. You got so big. Oh my goodness. Y'all tired too?
He is a chunky boy. He's spoiled.
They're getting their feathers. I
Yes,
see a little bit of fuzz left.
the baby geese.
Look at you, pretty babies. Look at your fuzzy little head. Their feathers are pretty though. You can see where they're growing in right there looks blue.
I think
Yes.
that these are
Pretty babies. See if I can
Waffle
get
is
them
a
to run. When
Chinese
they come
mix. I
running,
think these are
Waffle
African
comes running
goose,
right
if I'm not
behind them.
positive.
She
They're
has
either
definitely
African or
taken on the
French.
role of Mother Goose. I'll try to get a video of that for y'all.
A little bit.
Look at there's the basil running.
I've got a video where they're chewing on my ring. Like
Where
I have
you
this ring,
going,
they like
fat
to chew
boy?
on that and my bracelet.
Look at you standing up. What do you see? Basil, what do you see? He likes to get in this tall grass right here. He comes outside like 2 and 3 times a day. He loves to come out. What is it?
He plops down.
What
again.
is it? Oh, you going to plop it down right there, huh? He said, I like
Yes.
the air conditioner. There's no air conditioner out here. Take me back to the AC.
I know
All
they're
right,
my
y'all.
babies.
I wanted to share the babies with you. Thanks for watching this video. I'm going to get him in the AC.
They've got
Bye.
They've got quails. I went to the Tractor Supply and he said that he's got quail eggs in the incubator. I want to get some quail, but they're so loud. Like you would hear them while I was streaming. Cobra chickens, they can be, but mine are nice because when they were little, we would hold them a lot. So like they're more used to humans, but it really depends on who feeds them. Like I feed them, so they'll come up to me and play with my bracelets and my rings and things. They're super sweet. I love them so much. I really do. Like they're my other babies, other than the children. All right, y'all. I've really got to go. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for listening to me and hearing my breakdown of everything. Hey, Tragedy Pimps Exposed. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, the Olap. Good to see you. Yeah, they're definitely my babies. Yeah, I don't think mine are Canadian. I think they're Chinese, and then the babies are either African or French. Mhm. All right, y'all. I will see y'all again soon. I'll see you on Allegedly Krama, and then we'll be back over here when I get the opera request back. Until then, y'all stay safe and enjoy yourselves and go out and touch grass. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.